We live.
That was good. That was solid.
She stared in my soul a little bit too deep. It was kind of scary.
You're leaving her hanging right now, buddy.
Sorry.
There you go. So we're going to go ahead and get this over with now because we failed to do so in the past 2 episodes.
No, we did it last time well.
No, we did, but it was still like 5 minutes after we started the conversation. And now we're probably a minute or so in. So
I feel like that's normal.
can you shut up?
Okay.
I'm sorry. I love you.
He's not sorry.
I'm sleeping in the same bed tonight.
Correct. Huh?
Right.
All right. This is Kayla.
Hello.
Hi, Kayla.
This is a woman with whom, with whom we converse
Oh,
with.
no, I'm scared.
And by default, Thomas is afraid of her just because of that.
Women scare me.
Because, yeah, did that start last
take that.
episode? Or
Yeah.
did we
No,
talk
that
about
started
it with
last
Cam?
episode.
I feel like it started with Cam and then like the Camila episode.
Oh, yeah.
No,
yeah.
not that you're afraid of Cam. I feel like it started in the Cam episode. You were like talking about that a little bit. And
yeah,
then in the
because I'm
Camila
on
one.
a whole team of like women.
Well, yeah. And then the Camila episode, you were just full on like, women just. So how does it make
it's
you?
valid.
Huh?
I mean, I'd be scared of some women.
Yeah. So how does it make you feel that Thomas is quaking in his boots right now? That you're sitting on the same couch as him?
Yeah, my legs are shaking. Not for that
Can you
reason,
stop
though.
using that for the description? Why is that your go-to
My
right now?
legs hurt, bro. Like I had to like basically be assisted out of the gym today.
Did you hit legs today?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that explains it.
I would at least
That,
hope
that's why I've been.
his
That's
legs
why.
hurt.
That's why I've been mentioning that the whole
Lack of
time.
nutrition? I don't know. His legs could be hurting for another reason. Not okay. Anyway, because we have younger viewers, or AKA just members of my family that listen to this, we're going to move on to a different subject. So why are you interested, Caleb?
Why is that the way you word that? Why?
Because I got nothing.
He's taller.
Help me out.
basically.
He's stalling. He's had how many days to prepare this?
Not many, honestly.
Look, I've been busy, okay? I've actually been doing stuff this semester.
Yeah, he
so
said.
have I.
So, yeah. That wasn't a shot at you.
Yeah,
I'm
what?
just saying for my level
Defensive
of...
for no reason. Oh my
I
gosh.
was just saying for my level
Are
of...
you scared of men? Is that what it is?
I
Kayla?
mean,
Oh, yeah, never mind.
Scared of men? You don't seem like the scared of men type. You're-
depends.
In what way?
I don't know if they. I don't know.
I feel like you're a
some
very
weird me
like...
out. If
Huh?
I just get a bad vibe, I'm automatically like no. It's not that I'm scared of them. I'm just very hesitant.
That's different though. I feel
It's
like...
not the same, yeah.
I'm saying scared is in terms of if there's a guy that you're just kind of, I don't know, you just head on be like, you freak me out.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't ever really like. It takes a lot for me to be like, okay, yeah, you freak me out, but like,
Well,
I
granted,
don't know.
men can be some men can be creepy.
A lot of men
The
can be
very
creepy.
worst of us can be creepy.
Probably women thought I was really creepy today because I had my hood up and like headphones at the gym the whole time, and like I was just staring at myself like in the mirror. But like I could definitely see how some people might have thought I was like staring at them because I would like zone out looking at myself for some reason, and I would just stand there for like maybe a minute or two because I'm resting and everything. I definitely had women stare at me like as if I was a weirdo, and I'm like, I'm sorry guys.
I know
I'm
I
just
definitely
being-
was walking through the mall the other day though, and I'm pretty sure I texted my friend. I was like, if I have one more old guy look me up and down, I'm throwing hands with somebody. Like that's the typical response. Like, I'm not scared. It's if someone even just side eyes me the wrong way, I'm gonna fight them.
Have you seen that like trend on TikTok where it's like, how's my side eye? And it's like this. And like they see the side eye and it's like the creepiest side eye ever.
No, the only thing
That one I haven't.
Did I send you the Minecraft version of that? If I didn't,
No,
I should
I don't
have.
think you did.
But there was a thing at Biker where the dude's skin, I guess, was like animated, and they were walking together, and his guy just side eyes him. He goes, "Bro, why'd you look at me like that?"
Yeah. It's very similar to that basically.
But
But we also got off track. This is Kayla.
we already did the introduction.
Yeah, but we didn't say how we know her and stuff.
Oh, you're right.
You just said a woman that we conversed with.
Oh yeah, I
So-
said this is Kayla, a woman, and then you guys just
Did I
started
said I got
laughing.
scared?
Yeah.
She used to be my coworker, and used to be Cole's old coworker as well.
I like how I'm your coworker, but I knew Cole first because of work.
She was more my coworker. If talking about a
'Cause you
duration
came
of
second.
talking about a duration of time, she was.
Well, I only say my coworker first because I don't work at Dick's at all anymore.
Well, that's true.
But like
I don't work
both
at
of you
his
guys
store
do.
anymore.
That's what I'm saying. Because like
Yeah.
you guys were still coworkers even after I left, and then you left to go work at a different one.
Yeah.
So like,
Kayla still works within the same company. She's
yeah,
just
a different store now.
she's an op now. So that's
Better store.
Honestly, I was gonna fight you on that, but that's
You
probably
can't.
true.
I
Yeah.
know you can.
That's probably true.
Oh, that's facts. I can agree 100%. Maybe like not because you just have a lot more departments. Maybe that sucks, but
Management better as a whole.
I'm not going to comment on this for the sake
his
if this
sake-
ever
for the sake
gets
of his
out.
job
I'm not gonna
and
comment.
everything,
It's
but-
like you with your coach. I'm not going to say anything that could
can I speak on your job? Then?
incarcerate.
For me,
no, you
from
used
my
to work
experience,
there.
from my, huh?
Oh, I guess he could do his experience.
I mean,
No,
I guess so. Yeah.
Because do you know if any of them listen to it?
I know some people that I work with listen to it, but
Okay.
nobody in, I guess, managerial position.
Then
That
I'm
ma-
clear.
okay, managerial position that would actually like come
a
up to
shit.
me and be like, "Yo, we gotta talk."
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna hold off because thinking about it, because I probably will put them down as like not a reference, but like a previous job, and if they contact them, and they're like,
So they pull out the
You gotta
receipt.
keep that bridge. You gotta keep that bridge alive.
yeah, I want to keep that bridge just a little bit alive. So like whenever if I give them like a reference, like I used to work here, like I was pretty good at my job, blah blah blah, and then the manager picks up like, oh yeah, he was shit. He didn't do like he didn't do anything, and I'm like,
Pretty sure I've got the video somewhere of you still trying to build a catapult behind the
okay,
register
but there
that
was
one day.
okay, but you have to keep in mind that was approved by another manager.
Oh yeah, that was even better because another manager came by and was like, "Oh, here, let me help you
Yes.
build this."
At
So-
our job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I was building a catapult at the front end, and one of the managers came up and was like, "Oh,
I mean, you. Wait, do they still work there?
no."
Oh, then you can say it.
Oh, Andy came up and was like, "Let me help you build this catapult." Of course, out of all the people, it's Andy that comes up to me and just
Yeah,
like,
he walks by. I was like, Andy, he's building a catapult, and Andy literally walks by and was like, "Oh, that's sick. Let me help."
Yeah,
I was
pretty
like,
much.
Okay.
and it like almost worked for some time. The only problem we had was like there was not enough rubber bands, like not enough retention.
I think my favorite
was,
was,
like, a
the anti-Karen device you made, though.
That was foolproof. That shit was awesome.
Anti-Karen device?
He shot
So
a
like
pen at
there was
me.
this one I don't exactly remember the day, but I just remember you were working and there was some like Karen basically that came up and like pissed you off and
Shocker.
pissed everyone off at the store. And I was like, dude, this lady's pissing me off. So then I was like, all right, let me make a anti-Karen device so nothing will ever happen again. And it was hanging up for a while, like at the cash register. And it was like basically a blow dart. So like it worked because like I put a pencil in and I blew it. It went across halfway the store. So that shit worked.
I don't think it went halfway across the store.
No, it
it
did.
definitely cleared a good.
No, it
bit of
did. I
front end.
remember testing it. It went halfway towards the store. It went towards like the fitting rooms. I remember because I shot it and ran over and got it back and walked
I
out.
know there's a video of the pen hitting my camera like directly.
And that shit was hard.
Oh, I think you showed me that video actually. Yeah.
It was really hard. Like that thing was foolproof. 'Cause
We
you
also
know,
had to take the video like 3 times because every time I went to take it, customers kept walking up, and so like all of the videos end with my phone literally just like quick
Pretty much.
dropping.
Yeah, I miss how our store used to look back when you were there. It just
Me?
We
looks
had a
so
way
like.
better. We had a way better vibe. Sorry.
Well, the glass counter is gone.
yeah,
I love that
I missed the
thing.
glass counter. I'm not gonna lie.
And then the whole, I don't know. I kind of liked the carpets actually, because now it's just all hardwood floor.
Ooh.
You've been in there.
I haven't really paid attention that
Okay.
much. I've only also been there once. Keep that
I
in
also, I
mind.
don't know why, I just like the power of having to open the fitting rooms because now they're just open. You can go in whenever.
and they all
Oh,
look
really?
like trash.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't that mean like the theft rate is a lot higher then, or like possibly could be higher?
Not necessarily.
I think the other day, me and someone else pulled out like 5 empty boxes of shoes from one of y'all's fitting room.
I mean, well, at least of my knowledge, we went a while. I feel like where we didn't really get stolen from that often. And
Y'all
then-
also didn't have any stuff on the floor.
no, like when we opened back up for like the grand opening or whatever, for weeks it felt like nobody really stole from us, or at least I didn't really
think
hear about it.
The people that steal stuff give you guys a grace period because y'all were like, I don't know.
You know what? They just rebranded. Let's let them
You know,
figure
may-
some stuff out
You know,
first.
we're gonna see. We're gonna like test them in a few weeks to see if it worked, and it just got worse.
Yeah.
I know my favorite story is I know it was me and you one day.
Uh-huh.
We were ordering DoorDash, and I was like, Thomas, this dude looks
Oh.
a little suspicious. I'm like, he's been in here for 5 minutes, and his cart is already like slam full. And Thomas is like, Thomas is still scrolling through DoorDash, and he's like, no, he's just probably shopping for his family or something.
No, I just said you probably should. You asked me if you should worry about it. I said, no, you probably shouldn't worry about it.
And he's like, no, it's fine.
Not even 2 seconds went by. The man like rushes out the door.
That's
I remember this story.
It was literally wasn't like 2 seconds, and then I look up and I said, nah, I'm gonna just continue. So I literally continued
Yeah, he's just going through
scrolling.
DoorDash.
I just said, out of sight, out of mind.
I saw a video on TikTok like a week or two ago, and then we'll actually get into some sort of discussion where, because I guess that's just universal in retail, is just there's, what is it, no chase policy or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So this one girl was just recording the guy taking stuff from the store, and they were just like cussing each other out, and the dude was like, man, you, and he kept dropping stuff and going back to pick it up, and she was like, you dumb, you can't even take all the stuff out and everything. Honestly, I would laugh if I did that, because we're not allowed to chase, so you get their face, but also at the same time you're just like, bro, you're dumb, you can't even hold all this stuff.
I think you're not allowed to chase like out the store, but I thought you can like chase in the store.
No, you're not allowed to do anything.
You can tell them like, hey, like, are you gonna pay for that? But it's only if you like 100% know they're stealing.
Oh.
Like,
Or
if
yeah, like if
you're
they're trying-
suspicious, you can't do anything.
Because I only saw this. You probably don't remember, but do you remember Domix, like that YouTuber?
Yeah, the name sounds familiar.
So he posted a video of when he worked in retail as well, and this was like his second day working retail. I think he worked at what is it called? It was either like Gap or like some brand company. I forgot what it was. And there was this like two couples apparently that like stolen stuff, and like this is his second day working. Keep that in mind. You just hear he says he hears over the intercom, security up to front, and then he just sees his manager chase them down, like the two people, and apparently she chased him down up to like the car, and apparently there was back then I guess there was a policy that you can't do anything once they get to their car.
Well, I mean, we've had issue with that with
I know.
people that we work with trying to go outside.
Oh, I
And
remember.
You're definitely not allowed to do that.
Yeah, because then someone got fired because of that.
That was a separate story. Like I said, I don't want to talk too much about it in case anybody listens to this. So like,
But it's
hey.
like companies would much rather pay like what like the like maybe $200 in clothing or whatever they steal than like your medical bills in case something happens to you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's
that's
pretty much why that policy is in place. Because
I
they're
guess
all
that's
cheap.
true. I didn't think about it
makes
that way.
sense.
Corporates are all cheap.
No.
Correct. Oh, I didn't start a
Timer.
Yeah.
That's okay.
awkward. Oh well.
R.I.P.
So this was the proposed topic in my head. Neither of you know it. Which,
No.
welcome to another episode, everybody.
Yeah.
So this is why I said it can come off in a weird way, but I feel like you know kind of where I'm going with it, because you've had a lot of stuff go on in your life, a lot of tragic stuff, at least recently, roommates, living situations, jobs, all that kind of nonsense. I mean, it depends on how specific that you want to get with it, because like I said, maybe some of those people like listen to this stuff, so just keep that in mind, I guess. But the, I guess, theme or kind of just the subject that we could talk about is just, we haven't done motivation, have we? That was
That was literally last
my
episode.
bad. That was
Bro.
That was Liddy Camila's. Well, okay. The only reason I've completely forgot about that is because motivation took up
Maybe
of
like
the
10
3
minutes.
hours.
Like
Yeah,
10
like
minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah,
maybe.
it wasn't that long.
So that's what just happened. That's fine. All this money I spent, you don't even use this stand.
I use a stand.
I'm kidding. It's fine. That's
sound like I was dying.
true.
Do you
We
sound
picked
like you're
it. We
dying?
picked an odd time. Kayla's got a cold, so we picked an odd time to
There's a
record.
lot of people getting sick recently.
I also just can't breathe out of my nose at all in general. So
Oh,
like,
that's
when
true,
I'm
yeah.
slightest, like that's why it's so bad right now.
That's what you hear.
Yeah, it's kind of bad. Well, no, it's because my nose is half blocked off, like regularly, and then stuffed up makes it.
Someone
so
told me
worse.
that like if you put your face or like fingers here and then like slide back, it like opens up your nostrils apparently. Like if you do this like here and then you slide.
Well, it's not gonna do it for my deviated septum, but maybe for the other half of my nose.
Okay, maybe you push one side more than the other side. I don't know.
So you've had a lot of stuff going on in your life, and not really motivation, but you just care to talk about, I guess, how you keep like moving
Keep on
forward,
going,
I
yeah.
guess. Because from what I hear happens to you, I feel like it could be very easy to just
Like slip into a hole and just like not.
Yeah, I mean,
Get
I
out
was
of
going to
that?
say, this sounds terrible. I was going to say just be sad all the time. And there's definitely periods where, like, you are sad, obviously, because we'll hear about it. And it's valid, too, because of some of the stuff that happens to you. But,
Well, okay, so I'm trying to think of like the theme of like what you're trying to go with. Wouldn't that kind of be like, how do you?
Maybe like staying positive like through.
Well, I was gonna say like how you are able to like tolerance, kind of like because like she tolerates a lot of things.
tolerance isn't bad.
Yeah, like you tolerate a lot of these things, but you don't really like you don't let it get to you. So like how do you?
Well,
have-
so that's the interesting thing, right? Obviously, we want to hear your input on. We're just kind of setting up a little bit because it does get to you, but it's just like after a day or two, and then maybe something later will trigger it, and you're just kind of like, oh, this reminds me of like something super stressful. But
Then I turn into crying for like 30 minutes.
yeah, and then you go to the back and you just.
No, I don't do that at my store.
No, I know that was just a joke with our story, but it does get to you, but after a day or two, it just kind of dissipates. So yeah,
how do you like basically restart like after each? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, pretty much.
I think like my biggest thing is like I've had a lot of friend drama stuff like starting in like middle school and high school. So like I would kind of let myself like like basically right now the way I kind of handle things like that is like I give myself that like day or two to be sad. I figure out why I'm feeling the way like I kind of just I act like I process my emotions and then obviously like you said like a week later they're going to come back and be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you're not completely done handling it."
Yeah.
Which I feel like a lot of people sometimes
That's a pretty
have
normal
that.
thing,
Like,
yeah.
where they'd be like, "Oh, I'm better than like that stuff was so stupid. Like I'm over this." And then like a week later, they're like, "Oh, just kidding. No, I'm not." But I do my best to like maybe give myself like 2 days max to be in my head, be sad, like be like, "Oh, I wish something else could have happened," and whatnot. And then by that second day, I'm like, okay, go out, do what makes you happy. Like for me, that'd be like lacrosse, hanging out with my friends. Like
Yeah.
even if it's just getting out of my apartment to go like walk around somewhere, like I'll just go walk around the mall. Just okay, I'm gonna go look at things. Like, but like I've noticed sitting in my apartment by myself has been like my biggest like I guess like trouble spot. Where like this past couple weeks have kind of gotten to me a lot because I've been so exhausted with like work, school, lacrosse. Like if I wasn't doing either of those things, I was laying in bed. Like I was just being lazy and then getting in my head and just kind of having like a cycle back and forth where like all those things where I thought I'd kind of like process through were all starting to like kick back up again. So it's like it's not exactly the healthiest thing, but like my big thing is like keeping myself busy and occupied so I don't let myself like get into my own
Slip
head.
back into kind of
Yeah, which is honest. It honestly helps. Like I've been trying to go to the gym more. I've told you guys. Like I've been cooking more. That's somewhat going okay. I have to learn how to actually cook though.
I'm not much better, honestly.
Hey, you showed me how to make the chicken though. I'll give you that one. That
yeah,
one
and then
day.
I got critiqued by Allie about my cooking with chicken, and she was like, "Is that all you put?"
This is like the 4th episode in a row that Allie gets mentioned. The past
Yo,
like
because
3 were me. and
She's
then
very
the-
prominent in my life. I'm telling you, because she was like texting me all day basically today. But she like whenever there was one time she came over because I was making quesadillas, and I make chicken obviously with quesadillas. She was like, "What do you put in your chicken?" I said, the regular.
Oh, you're talking about the seasoning conversation?
And she was like, "That's it." And I said, "Yeah." I said,
Wait, what seasonings do you put on yours?
I put pepper, salt, and chicken Montreal.
I think I found one when I was at Walmart. It was like the garlic and onion powder and the salt and pepper. Like it's like a 4-in-1
seen that,
kind of thing
yeah.
where it's just like a quick one go.
Yeah, she
Pretty
says.
good.
Well, I asked her like,
she
what-
puts like 9 spices.
yeah,
on her,
and
like,
she was
seasonings.
yeah, and
That's a lot.
Well, yeah, because she says it tastes better that way. Because like when she looked at mine, I was like, "Are you white or something? Like, is that not like why do you not put so much seasoning?" I'm like, I just don't.
Wait, she
put-
asked you that question?
Yeah, I was just like, I just don't put that much seasoning because also like seasoning also adds extra like nutrients.
Sodium.
Yeah, sodium and nutrients.
Well, I feel like also too after like 5 of them maybe you're getting to a point where it's just overloading. You're not really gonna.
That's what I'm saying. There's not much chicken left. If there's just a lot of
Yeah,
Like
you're
it's
not
like
gonna-
too many flavors trying to like fight with each other.
Yeah, so that's
no
why.
bag. They shaft you on the bag this time. I hate those nights.
But yeah, I just when she told me she put like basically 9 seasonings, I'm sitting here like, okay.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 for me is fine because,
That
like I
sounds
said,
good.
after you go past that, I feel like you just can't taste.
I don't even think I can name 9 seasonings, honestly.
She was like, I put salt, pepper, oregano.
She said one that's apparently popular because when we were talking about it, somebody else was like, "Oh yeah, I put that one on mine too." I can't remember what it was.
I don't know, but yeah, she was like, yeah, she just basically tells me I can't cook, and I'm like, okay. And then guess what? A couple weeks later, I made quesadillas at their place, and she was like, "Can you make the chicken?" And I'm like, "Oh, so you want me to make the white chicken, huh?" She was like, "Yes, I guess." And I'm like, "Oh well."
I'm like, you asked.
Eh.
Well, going back to what you're saying, deviating from the chicken, I feel like that's kind of been a common theme for the past few episodes that we've done. Just people talking about how, I mean, because I relate to you. Like when I have free time, because part of the reason we talked about this last episode with Camila, like the reason that I went to Coyote Joe's was not just to
You went without me?
surprise.
Oh yeah.
We can
I don't
tell
know
you
what
about
I think you were doing something. I don't know.
Neither of you texted me. I could have told you.
I had a lot of things going on that day that I just.
Yeah.
Okay, well, next time y'all go out, I want to go.
Yeah. I want to go back. So
Did I tell you I saw Meg when I went to the gym with her yesterday. We were talking about that, and she was like, "Oh, I had such a fun time. Let me know when you guys next time. I'll drop all my plans to go."
we'll spare talking about it. That's her Kayla's feeling because it was really fun.
I will skip lacrosse to go.
Okay, maybe not like that.
I get done at 8, so there's still plenty of
I
time.
guess so. I guess like Coyote Joe's opens at like 10:30, 11.
It's sooner
That's
than
the
that.
prime. That's the prime time
'cause
to go.
if
I'll say that.
If you go on Wednesdays, ladies get in at like in.
Wasn't
free. Ooh, I just
Wednesdays you
struggled.
get to ride the bull for free or whatever?
Yeah,
Is it Wednesday?
ladies get in for free on Wednesday and get to ride the bull for free. That's fun. Don't
You
do
get
that.
you get in for free on Wednesday? What?
Yeah.
Men get nothing, bro.
Well, I mean, it is Wednesday, so
Well,
that's
men
kind of
suck.
weird.
So most
we
men,
just caught a
not
stray,
you two.
bro. Like what?
It's okay.
Not you guys though. I like
Anyway,
You two.
yeah, I like how there was like a 10-second
Yeah, there was
buffer
a 10
between
second
that.
buffer that you have to think
Technically, I
about.
said it once before. You just didn't hear me say it, so I had to say it again.
Oh,
You didn't say it
I
loud
said
enough
I don't
for us
like
to hear.
most men.
we were too bad complaining. We were too worried complaining about.
The freeness.
I didn't take
of-
it to heart. You took it to heart.
Huh?
Huh? So, well, yeah. So going back to what I was talking about. So the whole Coyote Joe's thing. Not only was it to just kind of put myself out there and get out of my comfort zone, but it was also just if I wasn't doing that, I kind of would have just stayed home and not really done anything. I don't want to say super important, but just out of the realm of what I normally do, and which is why that made it such a good night was because I just did stuff that I don't normally do, and I ended up having a really good time. But the common theme of the recent episodes that everyone's been talking about was just the whole idea of like staying busy, which I feel like obviously for you that helps because, like you were just saying, if you didn't stay busy, then you would probably just
Be depressed
yeah.
more than I
So,
already am.
for
but
lack of better expression, but yes, that's good.
That's
Well,
like a
so
big-
like. Oh, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
That's like this summer, especially. Like I was working both like my job and my internship, and then even between those, like someone I used to be friends with, I would be out. Like you guys saw my stories. Like I was out almost every single week.
He probably did. I didn't because I don't use Snapchat.
You don't count.
Wait, when? Like last
Like
semester?
during the summer. Like I was in. I was going out with my friend like at least once a week. Like
I feel like I remember
if not
that.
more.
It's not coming
Well,
to my head.
sometimes I posted it, sometimes I didn't.
We'd hear about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys would get filled in on the adventures.
So okay,
The
answer this-
misadventures of Kayla Jack. That was terrible.
that was bad, but I
Quite
know,
the stretch.
I know the
You
reference.
get what I'm
Yes, I
saying?
know
Okay.
the reference.
We love
Don't
the
look at me
reference.
like that.
I was like, what?
I'll feel disappointed myself. Thank you very much. I don't need you looking at me like that. People just cringed that were just listening to this, but it's okay.
I feel like some people won't get that reference because we're just old.
I don't feel.
I feel like that's also
old.
I feel like
I'm old, dude. Some people, because like,
I feel like it's more just like a niche show. Like
no, but
it
do you not
wasn't
know
the
some
biggest
people like they're
popular
like
one.
there's videos online of like Teen Titan, like the original Teen Titans on there, and everyone's like, which Teen Titans is that? Like I've never seen that before. And I'm sitting here like, bro, that's the original. Like, are you that young?
I see everybody say that the new one's garbage. I actually like Go. I know we've had this
It's just
conversation.
like it's just funny. That's it. It's not really like super.
Did you watch or not? Do you watch? You're an avid watcher of the show. Have you seen Teen Titans Go before?
I've seen like bits and pieces of it.
It's
hate
not
it.
bad. I know everybody dookies on it because it's not the original, but
That's like saying the new Ben 10's better than the old.
well, no, the new Ben 10 is literally trash.
There's a new one of that.
There's like so
They've
many
made like
different-
4 new ones.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Since Ultimate.
I'm not a big like. I guess I'm not like a big cartoon person
yeah.
as much. Like
I'm a child.
I've been watching. What'd you say?
I'm a
I'm a
child.
child, you said.
I mean, I used to when I was younger, but like now it's gotten into like 911 is currently my favorite show that I've been binge watching. Shameless was also one of my favorites. That is one that if I need a good background
You're
show,
laughing. What if 911 was so funny to you?
Nothing.
Thomas, speak it.
I feel like I've heard of the show.
Nothing. No. No.
Speak your piece, guy.
I was just thinking about that Family Guy the Family Guy clip
Oh.
you're talking about. That's why it made me laugh.
We can't explain.
That's why I didn't say anything.
Yeah, we can't
you guys
explain.
looked at me as if it was stupid. I was like, I'm not gonna say anything. 'cause I'm just-
Okay, yeah. No.
Okay. Anyways.
Anywho.
Well, okay. So getting into the question, and you can answer this however you want. If you don't want to, that's completely fine. But, because I'm the same way. Well, I used to be the same way where like I like to keep myself super busy in order to like not think about my thoughts that often, or like I know a lot of people do that too. But I've come to learn. This is just myself. I don't know if you agree or not, and some people might not either. That when I keep myself busy, it is a distraction for my thoughts and feelings about certain things. And eventually, whenever I do end up finding the time for myself sitting alone, it's almost to the point where I'm anxious sitting by myself because of these thoughts and feelings. Do you think like not having time to sit and be with your thoughts and think about your thoughts affect like how you feel? Because like, do you think it's better to not have that time to sit and sit with your thoughts versus what was I'm trying to say? Wow. Is it better? Do you think it's better to sit with your thoughts and evaluate it and feel it out completely, regardless of how long it takes? Or do you think just distracting yourself is better?
I think it's honestly a mix of both. Like, there's at certain points of time where I'm like, I don't really want to, I don't want to think about these feelings right now, so I'm just going to go 100 miles an hour constantly, like, have no downtime. Like, I know there'd be days this summer where I'd literally be up on my way to work at 8 a.m., wouldn't get home till, 10:30, 11, go right back to bed, repeat. Like, it was like, I didn't have enough downtime to do anything. Mm-hmm. But at the same time now, I'm like, no, it's okay to just chill, relax, think about things, process. Mm-hmm. This summer definitely was probably more of just the ignore everything, just go for it mentality. Ooh, excuse me. I think it also just depends what those feelings are too. Like, if it's something serious, yeah, I'll need to sit down and process those. Or if I have those feelings on top of working as much as I am, I'm gonna burn out extremely, extremely quick, and then it's not fun for anybody, me or the people I'm around, which I know Cole's witnessed firsthand when I have those little mental snaps, as I like to call them, or just me finally just losing my mind. A lot of crying and processing for that one.
See, but that's the thing. So that was kind of what I was alluding to a little bit, was you would have those episodes at work, but within 15 minutes you were back out on the floor, and we were joking. So I guess it's more just the environment. You just kind of understand. I mean, you can't really be crying for...
It's I just need that little 20 minutes to get it out of my system, because I won't get it out of my system otherwise. And it's never even it's never even my friends at work. It's literally always the stupidest things.
we
set
talked
me
about
off.
this. It's external stuff for the most part.
Oh yeah, anytime I cried at work, it was always external stuff and
Yeah.
pressure or drama or just literally anything that could go wrong outside of work tended to go wrong. So I just ended up crying at work. Mm-hmm. I think my favorite story though was when one of our coworkers accidentally made me cry, because he came up to me and was like, that customer just said you were useless.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Wow.
And I walked away. That was just, I had a really bad day that day, and it just set me off.
I think who was? Do they still work there?
Yeah.
Was it Blake?
Austin. And Austin felt
that's
so
right, yeah.
bad. And he
I was
like,
there. I forgot.
He came up to me and was like, I'm so sorry. Did I make you cry? I was like, no. I was like, Austin, I've just had a really bad day, and that just... I was already on that verge, and then that just kind
of... Well, that's why it's so funny, because I feel like on any normal day, I feel like I can say this in confidence. You just be like... and just like cuss them out.
I would say something rude back to them, be like, oh, I'm useless? Well,
yeah.
Get effed. Like,
so it definitely was just the kind of day that you were having.
The right... It's like one of those, like, wrong place, wrong time. Like,
yeah.
It lined up just right. Boom, gone.
But also, I think I asked Austin about that because I think I saw you kind of being upset, I guess, and like walking away.
Emanating aura of like
He's just too used to seeing me walk that way to processing in that way.
I know. I've seen it too. Don't you act like I didn't work with you for a while.
Well, I was gonna make this joke.
I don't know. I think Cole saw it a lot more than you did, though.
Well, that's because you guys worked longer together.
Yeah.
I was going to make this joke, but I think it has some really horrible historical context. I was say the Trail of Tears. Just back to... What was the Trail of Tears again?
It was a trail that like pushed the Indians back to like a...
I can't remember what president it was.
I don't know what presidency, but it's basically like pushing the Indians out of their land.
But they pushed them out west.
Yeah, pushed them out west to their own land.
Go.
Oh, crap. Okay, never mind.
Well, that's definitely going to
get ethnic cleansing and forced displacement of 60,000 people of civilized tribe. Okay, I didn't mean that.
That is definitely getting cut then.
Nah, that's going to stay in there. But I didn't... Okay.
And y'all asked me why I didn't say anything about 911.
No, full transparency, I completely forgot what the Trail of Tears was, so I apologize for making that joke. Anyway, in the context of what we're talking about, I think I literally asked... Shut up, man. I didn't listen. You know, I just say stuff sometimes, and I don't actually know what it means. Okay.
That's the worst thing you can choose, though. Too.
No, okay, but also people that know me know I didn't mean that maliciously. So why you?
I don't know. It's just funny. You have a bad track record tonight. You talk about me with
okay. Kayla knows that's actually perfect that we have you here. I'm the world's leader probably in saying stuff that immediately being like, wait
a minute.
No, yeah. I know. You act like I haven't known you since second grade.
That's what makes work so funny, though, is like, I feel like everyone in that store is like that. We're like, some of us will just say some out of pocket stuff, and they'll be like, "Wait a minute, we didn't mean it that way."
Yeah, I've said things like that too. It was just funny that
I said something like that. Well, no, the worst part about that was I felt deep down that probably meant something terrible, but I was like, hold on.
I'm gonna say anyways.
I was like, Trail of Tears, and then I looked at it. I was like, okay, never mind.
Cole said, "Let me cook." And
no, I didn't say that.
Let him cook.
I didn't say that. It's the hot dog and cereal picture, but. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'll show you guys.
I know what you're talking about.
I'll show you later. But yeah, I think I asked Austin about that. I just said, why is Kayla upset right now? Or why is Kayla crying? And then he told me. I was like, why would you tell her that? Like, tell me. Don't tell her.
Like, 90% of the time when I would have a bad day at work, you could kind of tell before you even talked to me. Because, like, I was normally a very, you knew me at work. Like, I'm normally, like, a very chatty, talking,
yeah.
There are some days, though, walking in where you're like, oh, all right, she's not.
She's on the edge.
She's not there right now.
She's on the edge.
That's what I'm saying. Austin's smart. He probably knew you're having a bad day. Why would he go up there and be like, oh, yeah, that lady just checked out while late? Useless. And I was like, okay, why would you bring that up?
I forgot what she even asked me. I think she was like, she asked me, like, where, like, tank tops were, and I pointed her over in the direction. Apparently, she was dumb and couldn't find them.
I remember that lady,
was like,
too.
She's useless. Like, I told you where they were. Use your eyeballs.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of customers that come into like retail stores, they always have that mentality that the customer's always right. But
no, they're not.
I know, but that's the thing. I've come to learn, especially working in retail and working at like food industry, that it's not customers always right. It's actually the employees are always right, because like I get what you're saying, but it's more often that the employees are right than the... Yeah, like, it's more often the employees are right. Like, I shit you not, when I worked at my restaurant one time, I gave them the menu. They asked me if we serve pizza, as if there isn't a whole menu saying pizza. And I'm just like, dude, What?
Well, it's like someone asked me if our gift cards worked at a competitor's store, and I just kind of had to sit there and look at them. I was like, are you actually this stupid, or are you just messing with me at this point?
I think I've brought this story up on previous podcasts. I'll just bring it up again because we're on the subject. I had somebody ask me, granted, this was like the 22nd of December. It was around Christmas time. I think it was before Christmas. Either before Christmas or directly after Christmas. I think it was before Christmas. We had a big deal going on, and some woman asked me. She said, when does the deal end? And I said, it goes through to the end of the year, so it ends the 31st. And like I said, this is probably the 21st, 22nd. She goes, so it'll be going on tomorrow? And I literally, I had to stop myself because I don't run into questions that stupid that much. It's just...
But when you do, it takes everything in you not to be like... What?
Or if I do run into stuff stupid, it's kind of like as I'm walking away, I'm like, oh, that was really stupid. But in that moment, I was like, yes. I really wanted to be like, nope, tomorrow's New Year's. Happy New Year.
I'd have been like, no, tomorrow's the one exclusion. It's not going on tomorrow.
I was be like, for you, no. Just because you asked that question, we're going to take your picture.
No, okay, this was the worst part. The worst, are you dumb moment that I've had all the time at Digs when I worked there, because our store was a warehouse store, so you could only return stuff from if you bought it from that store. You can't,
which is the most annoying policy ever.
Yeah, and I get customers are annoyed about that all the time, but whenever customers come in, I would always explain that to them. So I'd be like, hey, this actually was bought from a different store. Our policy is that we can only take things back if you bought it from this store or another clearance item store, just because we're a clearance store and all that stuff. And you'd be like, what? I wasn't told this. And I'm like, well, it's not really a common thing since we're the only clearance store in North Carolina. So I get it. So there's this one time I explained this to someone and they had a clearance item. So I returned it for them, right? After I returned it for them, they asked me, can I return other things from the store, from a different store? After I just explained it to them. And I'm sitting here oh, yeah, you definitely can. Not as if I just didn't give you a 5-minute rundown of what things you can return or not.
I will say, though, we talk down on everybody that asks those stupid questions all the time, though. But shout out to the people that come in and they could have driven 25, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're just... And I'm like, oh, sorry, man. You can't return that here. You're going to have to go to just literally any other regular price store.
Yeah.
You pick the one
there's
that
one 5 minutes down the road.
Yeah, you pick the one that you can't return it to, but if you go 5 minutes down the road, you can return it. Shout out to the people, though, that are just like, oh, man, really? Okay, fine. I'll go. Thank you.
That are at least polite about it.
They're thank you, man. You have a great day.
Yeah, or the people that are like, I was trying to avoid that place, but all right, I'll go anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, screw those people that come in and are like, what? This is ridiculous. Can I get a manager up here? I'm like, no, bro. They're going to say the exact same thing.
No, I've had that one time. Someone came in and was like, can I return this here? I'm like, I'm sorry, sir. You're not allowed to, just because our policy can only take back clearance items. And they're like, that's a stupid policy. Why can't you just return it here? And I'm like, dude, what do you, it's not my policy.
Oh, I've got a great story with that one. This one guy, and I felt really bad for his daughter who was standing right beside him, because the whole time he's going off me, another manager, and our store manager.
Nice.
And we're all staying there. So he's yelling at me. I was like, sir, do you want... he's like, get me your manager. So over the radio, I was like, hey, can I get a manager up front? And of course, our all-time favorite apparel manager comes up, and I was like, oh no. I was like, this is not going to end well. I was like, Thomas, you know who I'm talking about.
Male or female?
Female.
Oh, Thomas definitely knows.
Thomas definitely knows who I'm talking about. But so she responds, and in my head I'm going, anyone but her, anybody but her. I was like, this is not going to end well, because then we're both just going to get yelled at and pissed off. So he continues to yell at her, and finally she's like, do you want my store manager? And our store manager, he's a big, he's not a little dude,
he's just tall.
My store manager?
He's tall, yeah.
Yeah.
He's just tall.
He's tall, but he's not he's not going to be someone I'm going to be oh, I'm not going to take you seriously.
Well, he also, too,
I mean, now I am, because I worked for him. So
one of the things that I can say towards his credit is he won't bite, I guess. He
won't tolerate people being...
Yeah, they could give an entire explanation as to, or some sympathy story where maybe at the end a manager could be like, okay, I see where you're coming from. We'll allow it, but this is the only time. He's very, yeah, I can't help you.
He's like,
Pretty
Which
much.
I love that.
He's very blunt.
Yeah.
But this dude's like continues to yell at him, and this is now like the third person. And our store manager's like, and the guy at first was like, he's like, this is a Dick's Sporting Goods.
I
This
think
is a
I
Dick's
remember this
Sporting Goods,"
day.
like still going off, and our manager's like, no, it says Dick's Warehouse Sale on the side.
I think
And
I remember
and
this.
the guy goes outside, still cussing us all out, turns around, looks at the front of the building, sees where it says warehouse. Automatically, you see him just stop talking and just walk to the car. And his daughter stood there dead silent the whole time.
You know
I was
what's
like,
funny?
"That poor
I
girl."
think I remember that day because I think I was on break during that, and I came out and everyone was like flustered. But yeah, I just remember that, and I was like, dude, I'm scared. Like I don't know what's going on.
That was just chaos. Oh, I was like, why does it say my hotspot's connected? I forgot it was connected to my iPad. I was emailing you the logo.
Oh, I have a phenomenal story, and we can get back on track because I don't think you heard about this, or at least I hope
Oh,
you
Lord.
didn't. Huh?
Nothing.
Bruh. I'll say the name because I think the store manager, whose name definitely hasn't been said in the course of this conversation, already knows about this story, so it's not that big a deal. So Blake,
Oh, Lord.
like,
It's always going to be interesting when it's a Blake story.
well,
Or it has to do with
Well,
Blake.
this made me proud because in any other circumstance, I might have been against what he did. But so I don't know if you know this, but we had a period where like all sales were final for
Yeah.
because I think it was when we dropped our prices to be super low. The reason we did that was to just get it out of the
Get the
store
stuff
anyway.
that's been in there for literally years.
Yeah, so that's why we were just like, okay, we're gonna give it to you for like $5-10. Keep that. We're not taking it back.
There's some pretty good deals in there, though.
So we had that period where it was all sales are final, and then it ended. So I think now we're back to 45 days or whatever it is. But this one woman came in, and she bought something during that period, either like the day it started or something. I think it was the situation was it was pretty close to when it started, or just happened to fall in it. I can't remember exactly, but she came up to the front. And Austin was there too, but because Blake was acting on duty or whatever, Austin was just kind of there. Austin was like, "Get in there, champ. Take care of this." She came in and was just like going off on Blake about the whole, "What do you mean sales are final? Like, I've been in here before. That's never been the case, blah, blah, blah," just going off on him. And I think she wasn't even the one that bought it. It was somebody else. So she called the person that bought it. And she was like, "Explain to them what you just told me." And Blake was like, "All sales are final. It started this date. It ends this date. Store policy. Can't help you." And they literally went through the length of getting on a joint call with customer service with the woman that Blake was talking to, Blake, and whatever the customer service guy there is, whatever. And I think literally the story was the customer service guy was like, "Bro, just give it back to her. Like, allow it this one time." Blake was like, "No, I'm not going to do it." He's like, "All sales are final with store policy. I'm not giving her money back." He was literally up front for like 45 minutes. And props to him because, and I feel like every manager that we've had, or the cycle of which you've seen them, all of them would act this way. But the entire time his face was just kind of like, I would look over at him and I'd be like, "You good?" And he would just kind of be like,
I don't think he has enough like care left
doesn't-
in his
yeah, he
body to
doesn't
deal with
care.
customers like that.
but he was up
Just
there.
most of us, but
Yeah, he was up there for like 45 minutes, and then he finally walked away. I was like, "Dude, what was that about?" And he told me, and I was like, "Bro, I'm proud of you." I'm like, for just
My
sticking to your
man.
guns. Because it's one thing if they start out to get really annoying and maybe you were thinking about it, and then you're just like, "You know what? No, I'm not going to do it." But from the very first interaction that they had with each other, he's like, "Bro, it's store policy. I'm not going to do that." And I think he was worried about maybe upper level kind of getting on him about that. But his hands are kind of tied because you have to think about it as either if he does it, they're like, "Why did you do that? That's store policy." or if he doesn't give her money back and then she files a report or something, they're like, you should have just given it back. So either way, he can be looked at as like the criminal in this.
Yeah.
But he told me he was up there for 45 minutes to an hour just wasting his time, just basically just being like, no. And her just like going off in his ear, and he's like, okay, sorry, I'm still not going to give you your money back. And I looked at him, I was like,
good for him.
Good for you, bro.
him,
well, it's like that also just gives me the vibes of like I've seen a lot of the TikToks where it's like when someone asked me for my manager and my 19-year-old manager all
You
those
sent me those
memes,
TikToks, yeah.
But that fits our store so perfectly, and it scares me because
Well-
it's like whenever Shelby comes up, like that's why when it was since what's his face already said it, when she came up I was like anybody but her, because I know me and her both have like it's one thing if like women are getting on us like Karens are up, but it's like it's always the men. It's like the older white men who are always yelling at us, acting like they're so much better than us. Or me and Shelby are like, we're gonna fight somebody.
Yeah.
Like there's been I think my favorite line was what they said to one of our other front ends about when she was what was gonna happen to her after we went out of business.
Are you talking about what her next profession would be or whatever? Yeah. Did you ever hear that story?
Have you heard the story? So
Not-
someone went up. It was me. It was Shelby's last night. That's when this was because we were losing it. But someone went up to one of our front ends and was like, there's enough clothing and shoe stores in this area, whatever, like going off on her. I was like, yeah, when you guys go out of business, your next job's going to be riding a pole. Man, I'm telling you, if that was me up there, I'd have got fired so quick.
Bro, and then somebody told Zuri that she should come over and like clean her house sometime or something. Did y'all never hear about that? Yeah, that was months ago. Zuri would be able to tell that story better, but I think they were mad about something. It was something along similar lines where it was, if this job don't work out or whatever, they said like you can come and even if that was just some general expression or whatever, you picked the one Latina to like mention that to, and Zuri's the most like
laid back.
Yeah, like when she heard that, she was just kind of like, okay. And she told me about that. I was like, are you serious? That's terrible.
See, like the whole poll comment, I was joking with someone. I was like, I would have been fired for 3 different reasons. I would have either jumped across the counter and started swinging, like I really want to do, or I would have made some smart ass comment about being like, well, either way, you're handing me your money, so it doesn't matter.
Well, if I was in that situation saying like your next job will be on the pole, I'd be like, yeah, and you'd be paying for it. So like
either way, you're handing me your cash.
Yeah, like 'cause I know you're gonna be coming and see me, but no, I had like a similar
Shelby said,
experience.
"Send your dad." Like that was the other response.
That's
She
funny.
would say something
Yeah, of
like
course, she would say that. No, I had a similar story about Zuri, like because that happened to me, somewhat similar to me, because I just have days sometimes. Like there was one day I was like sick, like really, really sick, and I couldn't miss work because I had like 7 points for some reason. So I came in like super lethargic and super sick, and like I was like really, really tired. Like I just didn't want to be there. Shelby said I could have got home, but I was like, I've already been here for 7 hours. I'm just gonna stay here for the last hour. That was also the day that like a huge theft happened because this lady like confused me because I was already sick, and this lady confused me because she was saying she was returning a bunch of stuff, but the stuff wasn't in bags. I was sick, so I wasn't paying attention. I was just like, okay, she's returning stuff. Let me get this over with. But none of it was in bags, and all this stuff was like in the store. So basically, she got money and the stuff, basically. I don't know how exactly what happened. I just remember I was super lethargic. And there was a lady earlier. Like I was just like struggling to hear people that day. This lady was like, because she was like handing me money or something like that. I don't exactly remember. And she was like, yeah. And she like walked out the store. I heard her mumble underneath her voice. She was like, man, this Asian kid can't understand things. And I'm like, dude, yes, I get it. I struggle with hearing things and I'm sick, bro. Come on.
I'm just tired. I played Warzone last night.
I was just sick. I was like really sick. I remember that because I was like lethargic. Matt was looking at me. He was like, oh, you came in? I'm like, yeah, because I would have gotten fired if I didn't. So
it's like some of these people, I swear, like I think there needs to be a rule that you need to work either fast food or just food in general or retail for at least a year or two just to see how it feels. So maybe people would be nicer to people who work there.
I've been there for almost 2 years now, and I've had a pretty good experience. It's just the thing that gets to me isn't really the interactions that I have with people, because it's mostly just stupidity, and I'm like, okay, you're just gonna have to deal with that.
It's quite entertaining after a while.
Yeah, I just laugh now. It's more just this isn't the right word. Inconsideration. Is that a word? That's not a word.
It is a
like
word.
just how inconsiderate people are of just tossing stuff. I've actively watched people take something off the hook and then put it on top of the hook or the rack where they just got it from.
The one thing I miss about the old store is the fact that I didn't have to fold things.
Yeah, that sucks.
So now at my store,
I
I
can
won't.
imagine.
If I'm in apparel, I won't touch the Nike hoodie tables until we close
That
or
sounds
till.
like it sucks.
Because here's the thing: people will want to try on the same exact size hoodie in every single color. Like maybe the red's gonna fit different than the blue will.
Correct. Somebody else at my place says the same exact, or I think it was Sanaya. She's not there anymore, but she was like, "Why would you try on a different color of the same thing? You know, it fits the same. Like you don't need to." I get it to a certain extent, but
I
they're
get
like,
it though too, because
But
like
when it's like 5 of the same size,
Yeah.
like that's.
or yeah, it'll
excessive.
be like a black pair of leggings, same size, and it's like the same brand, and they bring like 5 in there. She's like, "You don't need to do that." There's
so
no
like
reason.
okay, I somewhat like agree and disagree, because as a person that tries on a lot of stuff, for example, Nike, because Nike's so weird with their sizing, because
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
because their dry fit shirts versus their cotton shirts are 2 different sizes. So like for cheer, because we get like a bunch of stuff from Nike, they send like a bunch of dry fit stuff and Nike and cotton stuff. So like our dry fit clothes are like a size smaller than like our cotton clothes. So like I wear normally a large all across the boards for like shirts and stuff like that. But when it comes to Nike, there's like one shirt, even though if they're the same shirt but just 2 different material, the dry fit shirt I have to get an extra large, but the cotton shirt I have to get large, even though they're the same exact shirt, which doesn't make sense to me. So like that I kind of understand to like a certain extent.
Well, the issue I'm talking about is they'll literally bring in the same exact item.
Oh, okay.
Like the thing that she would complain about was it'd be 3 of the same exact jacket, same size and everything, and she's just like, "Why do you need to do that? That makes no sense." And then that's when she was like, "Oh, they might be stealing whatever." But the one thing that we were talking about earlier that I was gonna, bro, you're dumb. The one thing we were talking about earlier that makes me laugh, which I'm almost positive you've experienced this before, but there was one instance, I can't remember it super vividly, I just remember that it happened, where somebody came up to me asking about some sort of store policy or whatever, and I explained it to them in a very like diligent and informative way, and they just said, "Can I talk to your manager about that?" And I was like, "Sure." And I called whoever was working at the time over there. And in my head, obviously I didn't say it out loud, I was like, they're just going to say the exact same thing that I
It's
did.
the exact same thing, maybe a slightly different wording, but the same exact policy.
I think I was up front at the time. I can't remember. But I was like, "Hey, can whoever..." Every time we talk about this, it blows my mind. But dang, you got to dry your hands. I'm not less worried about the washing now. You just need to dry them things. But yeah, I explained it to them. It was very informative and very explanatory. And they're like, "Can I speak to a manager?" And I was like, "Sure." I called whoever up there, like word for word. They said the exact same thing I did. And they were like, "Oh," and left. And I stopped whoever that manager was, and I was like, "Do you understand the power trip that you should be on right now?" And they're like, "Why?" I was like, "What you just said to them, I said the exact same thing. But because it came from you, because you have..." They don't literally, but because you have manager under your name, they're like, the little Yachty Drake thing where he's like pointing at the computer, he goes and looks at him. He's like, "Oh, I get it now." It's literally the same thing. And I'm like, "Dog, I told them the exact same." Because sometimes too, even the manager can come up and sit in a more like
I guess professional
imposing way.
tone, like it's like I guess like even a tone, but even that, like, no offense to any of y'all's managers, but like
Yeah.
y'all do not have the most like threatening, intimidating, like I guess like
Tell me about it. I was never intimidated. Except
Well, like,
except
you know
for
what I
one.
mean? Like-
except for one.
I get what you mean, but what?
What?
I don't know. She's just looking at you weird, so I was like confused.
The hot one.
Chill. Dog. What the? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, in the way that I was talking about it, they could ask me a question, I'd be like, yeah, so basically, and then I'll just explain it to them. It's like a minute explanation, completely answers their question, and there's like, can I speak to a manager? Manager comes up like, yeah, we can't do that. Store policy. Sorry. And they're like, what? And I'm like, I just gave such a better answer, but because you're a manager, they're just like, wow. It makes complete sense now. So
I don't know why. That's kind of like people when they don't read the terms and conditions. And then when someone reads it to them, they're like, "Oh, that's crazy!" Like they just have to be baby fed everything. It sounds.
Or
like.
the meme. I don't know if you've seen them, but the meme where it's like my grandparents looking at me. My grandparents had this problem. If you guys listen to it, I love you guys. You don't fall into this category, but where it's like my grandparents looking at me like I'm a wizard or something because I just plugged in an HDMI cable or something. It's stuff like that where it's just like I did nothing, but here you go.
No, yeah, my mom and my uncle always ask me like, "Do you know how to fix the internet cable?"
Just slap the dish or whatever, and they're like, "What is this sorcery?"
No, literally, this is what happened. Like my mom asked me like, "Can you how do you fix the internet?" I look at my phone and I'm not connected to Instagram or anything. I just go downstairs. Ding. You're so smart. This is the funniest thing to me. My mom doesn't know how to use Facebook, so like whenever she gets logged out of Facebook, she just stays logged out until I go home. So then like whenever I come home, my mom's like, "Oh, like it logged me out of like Facebook. Can you like do it?" But like she has her password saved by like Face ID, so I click the password and it scans my face and it puts it in. And then she was like, "That's sorcery." I'm like, "Mom, I didn't even click anything. Like I didn't do anything. Like, Mom, what?"
That's funny. Anyway, circling back, with all of the garbage and nonsense that we talk about with stuff that happens at work, you still prevail, Kayla. So, quite admirable.
I mean, I will say, I do like working for the company, and then at both stores, I have made really good friends.
Yeah.
Which definitely helps. Like, it's not like it's a store I walk into and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna hate my life working here today." Like,
yeah.
Like everyone I've met's really chill. Like you have your handful of the ones you like, obviously get on your nerves.
What, coworkers?
Yeah.
Right now, no, not really, because we've kind of. Are you talking about for me?
No, for me when I worked there.
Oh.
Well, no, when I was at that store, yeah, me too.
I mean, we've just kind of cleaned house kind of recently, so there's. I can't.
Every time I go over, you seem like you guys have like a really good crew.
I mean, there's definitely some people like Zuri and I me and Zuri or me and Tyler, whoever, will joke about it all the time. Where I say like, I asked Zuri to send me the schedule for that night because I'm closing, and she'll send it to me. I'm like, "Oh, we got the D team, whatever."
Oh yeah, no, I.
But
says that a lot.
I say that affectionately because obviously there's people I'd prefer to work with.
You have a tier system of who you want to work with.
Yeah, but also those nights too, where I'm working with the quote unquote D team, I get closer to some of those people.
Yeah.
So it's
it moves
nice.
up to a C team, I guess.
Huh?
It moves up to a C team then.
You guys went up in my book, but yeah, there's nobody really now that I work with that I can definitively say like, ew, like when I see them on the schedule.
See, like that's like at my store, like there's really not anyone on there that I'm like, "Oh my god, I don't want to work with them."
Yeah.
Like, I'm really sad because two of my favorites are about to leave me in March. Which
Dude.
breaks my heart.
Oh, I don't know if I want to. It's not really news because you don't work with them anymore. Zuri's leaving. I didn't know that.
Did you put a date in?
Sometime in August, I think. So
that's
it's a while from now. But yeah, we were talking the other day because I mean I understand obviously.
I knew
So
she was,
is it because she's getting like a different job or like?
Well, the school that she works for currently, they're gonna pay her basically what our company. They're gonna
basically
cover
combine
what
her.
we're paying her.
like additionally?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't blame her at all. Shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she makes like 20 at the school now, and she makes
Does that mean she's gonna be like full time more?
pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, she already is,
I
but
know, but like
just solely at that employment.
that's good for her. Like she's
Yeah,
not leaving
I'm not-
because
I'm so proud of
It's
her.
a good reason, so I'm not upset about it, but I'm upset as in like a go F yourself because I love working
Yeah,
with you.
you're
It's going to be
selfish in the
really
end.
sad.
That's
now.
is that how you felt when I left?
No.
I had to leave that store.
You walked into that one. I'm sorry.
I definitely did.
We had the same. No, but like we've talked about it. You leaving the store was definitely better for you. It was sad.
yeah, for
it was
sure.
sad
Like,
because of
You left before me, right? Or did I leave before you?
no. She
You
left,
left
after.
way before I did. You left in what, like December, January?
You had some
No, I
months
left
on
around
you.
November.
No, I left in February.
I didn't leave till like mid-July. So I don't know how you thought I
Yeah,
left before you.
Kayla left a while.
I
after
don't
you.
remember. It was
But
a
it's
very
like-
blur moment.
Back to what we were talking about, like whenever I would have those bad days at work, like that's just what it was. Where like going into that store would just make me feel so anxious.
Yeah.
Where it was never anything like work related that would make me feel anxious. It was what's gonna go on outside of work that gets dragged into here. Like who's gonna blow up my phone trying to start stuff. Sorry.
It's fine.
Oh,
I already
He,
cursed
I
like
think
4
he's already
times.
cussed. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there should be a counter at this
well,
point.
because I know the
Every time I
first one
curse,
we did
ding.
to like goof off, Cole was like, "No cussing." I was like, "Okay."
I
my
mean,
bad." I've been really good.
you have.
I've been very good for
As
me.
we've gone on, though, he's just been more laissez-faire with it, and I'm just like, I don't really care at this point.
Once again, I feel like every time I curse, it should be like a ding, like this one.
Well, it was funny because I try my best not to cuss because I know I have like family and stuff that listen to this, specifically my parents. But I mean, they know I'm an adult and everything, so like they don't care because I don't use this.
Yeah, you're old.
Yeah. You're
You're
coming
old,
up, buddy.
but you're the child of us three.
Yeah, but they know that I don't use this type of verbiage around adults and like professionally and stuff like that. So I try my best not to. But it was funny because like I don't know why, but Cam specifically, because we were briefing her before the episode, I was just like, yeah, if you can help it, try not to or whatever. And then when you started doing it, she was just like, screw it. And then she just started cussing. I was like, yo, wait.
I've been really good for me because like you hear how I talk normally. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Normally it's f
no.
bombs.
I got, I
You're
hit record.
like
I got
super
nervous.
vulgar with it though. Like when I tell you I was in my room, I was doing homework.
It's like the Harry Potter thing from yesterday. You stupid fucking I gotta show you that. I gotta
No,
show you this.
I was like, I shit you not. I was literally in my room. I don't care. But I was like sitting in my room. I was doing homework. And I just hear you like, oh, his door is closed. And you walk back. He's like, guess what I fucking bought today? I'm like, dude, that was so vulgar the way you said it.
It's like not even warranted, but
It's
you just
like,
say it
it's
anyway.
just
Yeah.
in my vocabulary at this point where it just like comes out naturally. Like, I'll go up to my boss now and be like, Chris, like what the fuck?
Dude, no, our store manager, he cusses more than I do in the workplace. Like it'll be something majorly inconvenient too, and that was an oxymoron, but it'll be something super inconvenient. He's just like, and I'm like, bro, you didn't need to say
Calm down. Calm down.
Mine, one of mine's funny as hell. Like, it's literally like the dumbest. Like, some customer will come up and say some stupid shit, and he'll look at me and be like, "What the fuck was that?" And I'm like,
I'm telling you, it's people in the higher ranks are just like, I could say it. I've
Okay,
earned this right.
I mean, I guess we're on the topic of cussing, but like, this is very weird. I don't know.
This is the theme of the episode.
Just
Potty
cussing.
words.
No, so like, I don't know how you guys feel about cuss words, but like, I only use.
they're my favorite.
I know how you feel about cuss words. So like, yes, I curse a lot, but like I curse only in terms of if it's not negative or derogatory towards someone. So I don't say like F you because I mean like I say it as a joke, but like if it's not actually like mean or like anything
Not
towards
like
someone.
in an aggressive manner.
Yeah, like I don't have a problem with it. If I usually only curse in terms of like emphasizing something. So like if I say that's a big as shit, like you obviously know that thing's big as shit.
Yeah.
Like it's huge. Like I only use it in terms like that.
I think, well, that I normally when I cuss, it's more for the sake of comedy
Yeah,
than it
so,
is
like,
for
emphasizing
kind of
something, yeah.
But I think my dad actually showed me this video, which is kind of the irony of it. And I think I showed you too. It was the weirdest word in the English language is shit.
Yes, you did show me that.
Because if you're so like this is an example. I don't think you know this video. So an example of what he was talking about was if you're the shit, you're really cool and everybody
Yeah.
likes you. But if you're a piece of shit,
yeah.
You're terrible. Everyone.
then you're
hates you.
garbage and
Yeah.
everybody hates you. So you can either be the whole shit or you can be a piece of shit. And then he said something else where I don't know, but there's a whole video on it.
Yeah.
I can't remember the comedian's name. It was really funny.
I can pull it up. Like I've seen it before because I watched it like pretty recently because the weirdest word is shit because it's so like flexible in so many ways because you can talk about like that's big as shit or that's small as shit. because that could mean two different things. Like,
or it's like if you ain't shit, then you're useless. But if you are shit, it just implies that you're just bad at whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Or some people like say, "Oh, I'm gonna go take a shit," meaning like the physical shit. But like, or you're gonna say, "Man, I feel like shit." That could mean
then
like
you just feel bad.
Yeah. So like that
it's a really good video.
It is a good video. It made me laugh because like he loops around really well. I don't remember I just know he's like a German comedian.
I can't wait for your parents to listen to this episode and then text you and be like, "What was this part of this podcast?"
Well, no, my like I said, my dad showed me that video, so he was gonna be like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so so there was one thing that I was gonna mention. This is completely off topic about. Well, I mean, we were just talking about shit, so I guess that's off topic as it can be. But
I would be offended if this podcast went on without us going completely off topic at one point.
True, it wouldn't be a Kayla episode if we didn't focus on a cuss word for like 10 minutes.
It just wouldn't be a
I know,
regular
but
episode.
then me just makes it like 20 times worse because like. You know,
you
ADHD.
I was about to say your ADHD is like through the roof sometimes.
It's because I'm right now it's because I'm like tired and about to fall asleep.
Have you seen? Okay, so off topic again. Have you seen that video of like POV? You have ADHD and you're like walking around. So the guy is like walking on a sidewalk. He does like he counts the steps in between like the tiles. So he says like 1 because he one step in the tile, and then he says 1, 2 because he takes 2. Like because he wants the even amount of like walking distance.
I'll do that I'll do that when like you walk down the sidewalk. Like I want like 2 steps in each.
Exactly. That's what he was doing. He was counting. He was like 1, 1, 2.
I probably need to go get.
No, and then the next thing was like he's like not holding. He was putting his hand out on top of the fences because he was like, "Ooh, this feels nice." And then another thing he was like, "Oh, leaves," and he's just like seeing leaves. And I'm like, dude, maybe I have ADHD because
my mom used to get so mad at me because we'd be driving in the car. And I literally go from like, she tells me this all the time. She's like, "I hated talking to you in the car." I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Because you'd be saying a sentence and the next thing I hear is, 'Oh, look at that outside.'" She's like, "You would completely forget you were talking to me and just completely, 'Oh, look, there's a bird. Oh, there's something out in the yard.'" She's like, "I couldn't talk to you." I was like, "I'm still that way, but."
It gets bad sometimes.
Or I'll have like 5 conversations in the span of like 2 minutes. And she's like, "What the hell are you even talking about?" I'm like, "I don't know anymore."
Next thing you know, Kayla says, "I'm just talking to my friend. There's nobody there."
Well, that's schizophrenia. That's not.
No,
that's not ADHD. That's
what I'm saying. Next thing you know, that just happens, and I'm like,
bigger problems.
Early onset schizophrenia.
"Are you okay, Kayla?
That's
There's
how
nobody
it
there."
starts.
What do you mean? My friend Fred's there.
What is it? It's okay to talk to yourself as long as no one talks back. That's what we keep telling my boss.
I don't know why
that sounds so scary for some reason.
Well, that was one of my favorite lines of the original Suicide Squad, the one that everybody hated. Harley Quinn. It was when they were in the prison yard or whatever, and she was like, "What was that? You said kill everybody?" And they all stop and look at her. She goes, "Oh,
I'm
sorry."
Just kidding.
She was like, "I'm kidding. It's just the voices or something." And she's like, "That's not what they said." Yeah, it was really good.
He says it so just like. That's not what they said.
Well, Margot Robbie, Lord have mercy.
Yes.
Is just a great actress. So
yeah.
Thomas's face. Remind you of anybody, Thomas? I'm not gonna talk about. We can end it with this though, because something happened today actually that I thought was quite interesting. Which we could have a whole separate podcast around this topic in general, but for the purposes of Kayla, this is gonna sound weird. But for the purposes of Kayla, I feel like it didn't really fit. I guess because. Every person that we have a podcast with, I feel like there's one thing that is just kind of like theirs, which is why I hone in on it. I was thinking about potential in class today, which is why I didn't want you to be like, "Buddy, you sound like potential" or something. But I think I thought about this because this was obviously as we're recording this, it's Wednesday, but I think it's my Monday, Wednesday class. In the class on Monday, I think I was thinking about it. And then today I actually asked the question. But after class, so today for whatever reason, it was just super dead. Nobody was talking in my class. And my professor made a joke about how it was rainy and gloomy and everything. But just nobody was talking. She couldn't get people to engage at all. So, but there was this one girl who she asked a question that kind of opened the door to a bigger discussion, and you could just see my professor's face light up because she was like, yes, thank you, somebody said something that we could continue to talk about, whatever. And there's also always, you guys have this in probably every class, that one or two people that are just going to answer every single question.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't need to do that. You're not getting extra credit or anything for it. Please stop.
Stop being extra.
But then again, you salute those people, because if they didn't do that, she
No
would
one
just
else
start
is
cherry
saying
picking
anything.
people. Yeah. So after class today, I went up and I asked her, I said, do you ever get upset when you can see the potential in a student where you'll ask them a question, or just by some miracle they'll answer a question that you asked, and it was like pretty in depth and it was really good, and then they're just quiet the whole rest of the class, and then you just have those two people that keep answering questions? So I asked her, do you get frustrated? And I said, answer it as honestly as you could. I said, do you get frustrated almost with, that somebody is smart and they'll give good responses, but they just choose not to for whatever reason it is? And she was like, well, can I ask why you're asking that, like, before I answer that question? And I explained to her the girl today, and I was like, I don't know if I fall in this category, because I'll have that maybe once a class. I'll just be like, answer question. Because as I've gotten older, obviously, I asked her this question after class. It's a lot easier to kind of talk and put myself out there in class. But for whatever reason, in class still, even if it's just 20 people, I'm just not a big hand raiser, even if I have a really good answer to the question. So I was like, yeah, I don't know if I fall under this category or not, but I was just curious if you see somebody like Amy or another student who could give a really detailed and valid response, but they just don't for whatever reason. And she actually gave a pretty good response, and she talked about how she doesn't want to take people out of places that make them uncomfortable, especially before like ad drop and stuff like that, because she said that's how people leave the class. Was she'll just pick on them and they're just like, I'm uncomfortable now, and they'll just leave. But she said obviously it's a lot easier for the course and the direction of the discussion we're having when people do kind of speak out that are new and aren't just the same one or two people every time. But yeah, we had like a 10-minute conversation about that, and I just I asked that question. I just sat there. I was like, yeah, like I totally agree with what you're saying. And she was like, yeah, that's like an interesting question. And I was like, I preface it by saying this is going to be abnormal, and because she's a sociology professor too, I feel like there's no better person other than like psychology for you to ask that question to. And we're in the process right now of conducting interviews with people. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll just conduct my own little interview with you. And I answered that question. So she gave a pretty cool response about that. And then as I was walking away, she was like, yeah, now I guess you just have to start talking more in class. And I told her, I was like, I didn't want to ask that question and then have you now just be like, yeah, anybody have questions? And just like stare at me the whole time. But she was like, no, if I ask a question, I'll just look at you maybe, and then if nobody else says anything, maybe in the back of her head she'd be like, well, that's funny because you're the one that was like, hey, you should engage more.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was interesting that I just kind of proposed that question.
It's funny that you bring that up because I had a professor like that last semester, and she was also a sociology major, but she was more of like a sociology major within earth sciences and like earth environmental. But she's, regardless of, or besides the fact that she's like, what's the word?
In spite of? Is it
no, in spite of like no, that's not the right word. Besides the fact that she's like concentration in like earth environmental science, she still has a degree in sociology. So, and that was the class like of sociology within like earth environmental sciences. She knew she liked, because you bring up the potential. She saw potential in me, and like she said this, not me, because I didn't agree. She said I gave very insightful and like different perspectives on answers and questions that she presented, but I don't speak that often in class either. Like I usually just sit there and ponder on the question, and if I have an answer, sometimes I just don't answer. But granted, also the class was a really small class. It was like a class of maybe 14 people in the class. So if one person didn't answer, she would kind of be like looking at me like, Thomas, do you have an answer? Because she would actually do that.
I feel like you would be that kind of student where you're just kind of the fallback, like, okay, I know Thomas is going to say something.
Kind of, but like sometimes that class was kind of also really hard. So there's sometimes I'm just like, I generally didn't understand the question. And she would be like, all right, do you have an answer, Thomas? And I'm like, So I would pull out some bullshit answer, and she'd be like, "Oh, that was interesting," and I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Because like the class was like very conceptual and all that, but there was a lot of times where I did know the answer and like knew how to explain it. But yeah, she was talking about me because she helped me with a lot of things throughout the semester because I struggled a lot last semester. And she like worked with me because she saw the potential in me is what she said. She said, "I know you're a good student. Like I know you really try hard. Like this is the reason why I'm like working with you to give like extensions and stuff like that for assignments. Like I know deep down you really are a good student." And I was like, I really do appreciate that because she said she based that off of like how I spoke in class. Just because even though I didn't speak that often, like she knew I was, I guess, intellectual, which I once again
First mistake.
that's why I said I was like that's a terrible mistake because
Moi?
me because like whenever I speak versus like someone else in the class, I sound dumb because like they would give such in-depth answers and I'm just like, yeah, the sky's blue. Like
Yeah, but you look at it too, kind of, I guess, in your context of even if what you say either might not make sense or it just is flat out wrong, at least you're trying.
Yeah.
Like you're actually making a point to raise your hand and just give an explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Well-
opposed to me maybe where just once a class or once a week I raise my hand, answer a question, and that's it.
Granted, also that class was like once again a small class and a very hard class.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the times I would raise my hand not only for answering questions but also asking questions because like I just straight up like didn't understand the concept. So she would like fall back on me a lot because I asked a lot of things and like I talked a lot in class. Maybe not in the best way possible because like there would be times I'd be talking to people and she was like, "Are you listening, Thomas?" And I'm like, yeah, no.
So how are you with that in class? Like, do you find yourself more often? Well, you've been drawing in class, so maybe not a good time to ask that question.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But I guess in recent history, if you know the answer to a question or something, are you more inclined, if it's just dead and nobody's saying anything, would you be like, "Hey, the answer is whatever"?
It also just like it depends on like the class itself, like what it is, especially versus like also like who the professor is, what the teacher style is. Like
That's fair, yeah.
if it's like the class I had today, I won't speak.
Yeah.
Like I'll talk in our small groups and like I know exactly what her answer is, or well, not exactly every single time, but like I know generally what kind of answer she wants. I just don't want to speak out in her class. Now my 2:30 class tomorrow, I'll talk out loud. Like,
Yeah.
I joke with one of my friends where I'm like, I'm besties with this professor. He's like, he is hilarious. Like he'll throw things in class. It's kind of funny, like because it's like one of the buildings that's got like the chalkboard in it still. So like this man has broken I don't know how many pieces of chalk, and the other day he threw one against the wall. He was like, and it like literally exploded. Like there's little tiny bits and pieces, and he was like,
HR.
well, he was like, well, I'm gonna clean this up because I don't think housekeeping needs to clean this. He's like, he's like, they don't need to clean up after my superhuman strength. But like,
What a Chad.
and that's like one of the classes like
For real.
I forced myself to sit up front. I was gonna do that this year. I was like, I'm gonna pick at least one class, sit up front, which I actually have two. Inadvertently,
Couldn't
I
be
was
me.
late to the first
Yeah, I
class,
couldn't.
so that's why I got stuck up front. And then I just haven't really, but like, cause you know, like those unofficial, like that's your seats kind of things. Like you
I
sit,
saw a video that said, "Screw the people that take the official unassigned seats." It was
Yeah.
like "grow up" or something like that. I was
Yeah.
like, "Bro, it's just understood. That's where
Yeah.
you sit."
but that's pretty much what happened that first class for like my Monday, Wednesday, 2:30 classes. It's like
Yeah.
I sat there the first day, except today they were like, you know, the classes that had like the wheel desks or whatever. Where
I
it's, like, the
hate
chair-
those things.
So well, someone messed up the number of like seats or whatever, so it's all screwed up today, and we were all thrown off. But like, yeah, no, it just kind of depends like what the subject is, how well I'm like versed in it, like who the professor is. Like, if you're a boring professor, I'm not going to talk in your class. Like, you need to make it like again, like I have trouble focusing, hence why you said I've been drawing in class.
Yeah.
Like unless it's like actually like something interesting to me, or like the like teaching method is like hands on
Engaging,
and more interactive. Like you're not gonna have my attention span. Like again, the ADHD thing like screws me over.
Yeah.
Like COVID seriously messed me up. Like I don't know how to act in class anymore.
I do that with like I feel like I don't know how to like talk to people sometimes now that COVID happened, because I feel like before COVID I was like very like social and like knew how to interact with people. I feel like now I'm just like I said, scared of women. Like that like plays in a part though. Like I feel like I'm just like
Well, I've been
Your
better
origin
with,
of being scared of women came from COVID.
well, it's like I've definitely been better this semester about making friends in classes. Like
Yeah, I feel like I'm
the
kind of
older
the
you
same.
like the higher up classes you get, you have the same people in all your class. Like you start running into the same people. So like I walked into like my first week of classes, I was like, oh, I know you, like whatever. And then my class at 2:30 tomorrow, I made friends with the girl beside me because I had the Hurricanes like Stadium Series game pulled up, and she was like, oh, like are you going to that? And then boom, like I made a friend. Like
nice.
we sit beside each other in class now. Like I've got her number. Like
Can't relate.
apparently women like me more than Thomas.
Well, no, I make friends in class. It's just like sometimes the class that I like go to, because I only have one in-person class this whole semester, no one talks in that class. But that's just because A, it's like a super difficult class, and B, our professor is funny, so we actually kind of like listening to him, and he doesn't ask like engaging question. He kind of just lectures the whole time, so that's why no one talks in that class. Mm-hmm. But I was gonna go to a point of like of wow words. I was gonna go to a point where, do you guys ever have like classes where you guys answer a lot, and then you guys like feel like you answer a lot that you choose to not answer next time they ask a question?
No, but only because I proposed that question originally about I'm just not really, I don't do that anyway, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because I've done that before, but that's only in senses of classes that I know my shit in. For example, like back in when I was at community college, I was taking pre-calc. Pre-calc was the easiest class for me ever. I didn't study a single time in that class. I was tutoring people, and like I was helping a lot of people. So like in that class, I didn't give like a fuck, basically. And my professor, because she knew what I was doing, and I would ace every exam and like quiz, whenever she asked a question, because that class was like super engaging, which is why it also was really easy to learn, because I was like, oh, I know the answer, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
But because she asked a question like every 10 minutes, I would always answer and like not basically not anyone a chance to answer. But I realized like, okay, that's not helping her or anyone, so I'm gonna just not answer. But what happened was I would just sit there. She would ask a question. I would sit there, not raise my hand or say anything, in silence for like 15, 20 minutes. And I'm like, y'all are joking. Come on. Like, I'm doing this intentionally trying to like help y'all. And like, I realize, yes, I answer a lot of questions, but that's just because no one's saying anything. So I'm just kind of like, all right, this is a little awkward. So.
Well, it's like, I know when I was younger, I was that way, like, especially in math, or even like freshman and sophomore year when I was finishing up my math credits, like, math was always my strong suit.
Same.
So I can answer math questions any day. It'll be fine. But like right now,
Is that why you're laughing?
Huh?
Oh, I know you're laughing.
but,
now you get
Anybody
it.
knows who Thomas is and should know why he's laughing.
Like
1 + 1, bitch.
math was my strong suit, but then I switched to communications, which is a lot more like critical thinking, writing, like so like that stuff where you can have multiple answers for like one. Like I'm in a class that's literally called rhetorical theory.
Oh, I had that class.
That can have so many, like, you can take a piece of rhetoric and it can have like 20 different meanings depending how you look at it and its context. Like, that's what I'm more scared of, like, screwing up if I answer in a class versus like a math problem that's like, what's 3 times 2? And you're like, okay, like definite 6. Like,
Oh, yeah.
but like, you know what I mean? Like,
I chose the wrong major. I like my major. I just feel like sometimes I'm better with math sometimes because I like definite answers versus
like a variety, like,
yeah.
You
What do
didn't
you
quite get what I was explaining or something like that. Is that what you're talking about?
Say again?
Like you like something that equals 9.4 as opposed to
well, this
in
is
your
one
own words
interpretation of
explain
it.
what's
Yes.
this, and they're like, nah, that's not quite what we're looking for.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know what you're asking me. Like,
yeah,
like,
then word it better.
Well, it's like when you do like research papers and you're like,
Ugh.
find your proof and explain. I'm like, no, like,
Dude, I saw a tweet the other. It has a word in it that I can't use, but it was like, it was trigonometry or something. It was a trigonometry professor saying, explain how this is a triangle, and it said, bruh, look at it.
That gives me vibes of answers the two of you would give.
Yeah. No, but that's what I'm saying. Because when you were in your original major, I'm sitting here like, bro, you hate everything about that major, basically.
Correct.
And now you're in a major that you basically love everything about.
Correct.
Wait,
Yeah.
what was your original one?
Computer science.
What is it now?
Sociology.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you didn't know that, did you? Mm-mm. Yeah, Zuri was pissing me the other day because I never told her that. But I didn't
See,
tell
I
you.
won't be pissed at you, but that's cool to know now.
No, it's just funny because you hate math, but you went into a major that is all math.
Well, to be fair, though, I didn't really know how much math was going to be in it. I knew math was going to be a part of it, but the thing that pissed me off, which I've had this discussion with my parents and other people about, you don't use any of the math that you learn.
Yeah, no.
Which is why there's been such a disparity between last semester and this semester. I actually look forward to and enjoy going to my classes now because the other classes are just classes that I know I'm going to, and this makes me sound lazy, but I know I'm just going to have to work like way harder in. Like
makes sense.
if any class this semester, I could be like, oh, it's my stat class. But it's just classes that I just know that it's kind of going to be an uphill battle for me, or just there's just something about knowing you're not going to use any of that information ever again in life, but you need it. It's a requisite. Requisite? Is that right? Mm-hmm. It's required for your degree. It's just so like, really, like I have to do this. And that just coupled with the fact that I'm not amazing at math and it's kind of hard anyway, I'm just like, okay, screw this. So that's why I like sociology, because evidently I can ask my professor the kind of question that I asked today, and it makes me want to ask the professor that I have before that class the same exact question, because they're both very expressive and open-minded people that I can just go up to and be like,
Yeah.
because my 230, because the class that I asked this professor is my 430, but my 230 class, she's like very outgoing and very expressive, so I feel like she would give maybe even a better answer to that question, and she might even be like, wow, that's really interesting, Cole, like good for you for thinking about that or whatever. Not to say that the other professor wasn't, but she was more like, that's what
Nothing.
you said, lose points.
I just said, here's 5 points.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. 5 points to Gryffindor. But yeah, I feel like dude, I feel like that's why I like the major so much better. But and then the other thing I'll say, and then we can wrap it, was on, I think it was on Monday, something happened that I was actually kind of nice, because I think I've talked about in the past, junior and senior in high school, was, specifically senior in high school, was really good for me, because I noticed myself kind of talking to people more and stepping outside of the box a little bit. But Monday, we had this thing where it was like secret pairings, so we didn't know an assignment was coming. She's like, oh yeah, and you guys are going to get into groups of 2. And I was like, oh, because I don't know anybody in that class. But, crawling back to the arm, eh, Kayla?
I did.
Are you scared?
You gotta figure out how to like.
You can slide it in a little bit more. Okay, never mind. Oh. Anyway.
I wasn't the only one who laughed.
We'll see what I'm talking about. We were talking about earlier. Oh wait, yeah, like right after you say something, like, oh shit. Back to what I was saying. So we got off into groups of 2. Stop.
I was just confused.
We
what
got
you're talking
up.
about.
I'll tell you when you're older. We got up into groups of 2.
I'm the oldest
And
here.
we got shut up. Let me finish this story. We got into groups of 2, and there was this one girl in the back. She's never gonna listen to this, so I don't care. Her name's Savannah. She's in the back, and I didn't even know she was in the class. So it's not even a shot at her, but she
Which
never
one?
talks. The one that I asked the question to. What class?
No, which Savannah? Like blonde hair one?
No. What? I have class with the Savannah. The other one goes to a different school.
Like you're talking about in your like class now?
Yes.
Oh my lord.
Oh.
So somebody wasn't listening to my story. Did you know what I was? We don't know the other.
I thought you were talking about high school.
No.
Oh.
I said I noticed in high school that I would talk more, but the
Oh,
story.
the secret pairings is class
God.
now.
Yeah.
I thought sorry.
You're
I
not
thought-
sure you're feeling lethargic now, Thomas?
I'm just hungry.
Anyway, so I paired up with this girl, and she's kind of quiet. You get a feel for those people that are just kind of introverted, and you can tell aren't very talkative. And we had the activity that we had to partake in was we had to interview each other as practice for what we're doing right now. And we had like a really solid interview. And it made me happy because I want to say part of the reason that was the case was because I was more welcoming, and because part of the interviewing process and something that we were building off of is kind of just building connections and trust between the person that you're talking to, but also when they give a response to something, you'd be like, oh wait, like tell me about that for a second, and then you continue it branches off, it goes to another direction. But for somebody that under normal circumstances, and like I don't want to say this to be mean, obviously, I would never talk to probably, we had like a pretty good conversation, and it was about just random topics that we just had to think of immediately. And I thought that was really cool to just kind of like have that interaction, because you might have them throughout the course of a day, but you don't really like hone in on it. But I think because we were forced into that atmosphere, it kind of made me think about it a little bit. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Do you think that happens because of our senior high school teacher,
Miss Wedge?
Do you think that's where it stemmed from? Because that's where it stemmed from me.
She definitely kind of unlocked that part of my brain, but I think, I don't know, I want to give her credit, but also at the same time, I think a lot of it was just kind of like myself, just kind of being like, you know what, you're an adult, you're like really an adult now, you just kind of need to, you're going to be in the workforce soon, you really just need to kind of start putting yourself out there more often. But I think you're not wrong, I think Miss Wedge kind of just unlocked that, and we talked about it with Maria, like the first time I ever met Maria, we had to stare into each other's eyes. And I was like, this is so weird. I don't know who this person is at all. But now I've noticed too, like when I asked my professor that question, or when the Savannah girl and I were talking to each other, I would just like look at them the whole time and make good eye contact, which maybe in the past I'd just kind of be like looking around. Because you know when you talk to people, maybe not the entire time you're going to look them in the eye. You're just kind of going to like wander. But I noticed I make a lot more eye contact now. I'm a lot more engaging and everything. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I know, like, I'm, like, obviously you two know I'm a very outgoing, like, type of person. Like, you've seen me at work where someone will come up and check out, and I'll literally strike up a conversation about literally anything.
I'm the exact opposite.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, I'm the exact opposite. Well, sometimes.
It depends.
You're like the happy medium, I feel like, between Kayla and
Yeah, I can literally, like, it doesn't matter what it is, like even like when we take people's phone numbers for like the rewards program, like if I see a New York area code because like that matches mine, since that's where my dad programmed mine, I'll be like, and like literally half of New York, I swear to God, has moved down here. Like I'll be like, oh, are you from this area? And they look at me all confused. They're like, oh, you know that area? I'm like, yeah, like my parents are from up there, and like I'll have a whole conversation like while I'm checking people out.
I've seen her strike some like interesting conversations from like basically nothing
with
sometimes.
people that look like they wouldn't talk either,
Oh, yeah.
which is
Like,
a really
I
good
can
quality
literally
to
get
have.
a good chunk of people at work to talk.
Yeah, this is one time that she was checking out someone and they had like baby clothes, and she was like, oh, like do you have like a little kid? And I remember this exactly.
Okay, I don't think that was me because I definitely would not be talking about kids.
No, it was
I don't
you
like
because
kids.
well, it was very confusing because they were like putting something out and they're like, oh, you have kids and stuff like that. I remember, not exactly remember, but I remember it was you talking about it. And you like talked about their kids and everything because it was a regular. It was someone that was a regular.
Oh, I might have been.
That's why.
We had some regulars in.
Yeah, so it was like someone that was a regular, and you were talking about like their kids and stuff like that, and you asked them like where they are and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, this is a little weird that you were asking like.
It might have been someone I know, not as much a regular.
Yeah.
Because if it's people I know, that's also
Maybe.
a little different.
I don't know.
Even then,
But, like,
you are the kind of person that you could talk about that and be like, oh yeah, it's my niece or something.
Well, it's like I joke because like I'm like, oh, I got that from my dad. Like hands down. Like my mom's a little more like kind of reserved. Like
yeah.
she'll talk with the people she likes, but she's not as like loud and outgoing as like me and my dad are. My dad, I cannot tell you the amount of times like we've gone through a drive-through. We'll get up to the window and he sits and has like a 2-minute conversation with a person. There's like a whole line behind us. I'm like, dude, you gotta shut up. We gotta go. There's people who still want their food. Like we got places to be.
Your dad.
But,
I definitely get my public interaction from my dad. Not to say that my mom doesn't interact with people, but in terms of my dad's very much, he just makes light of situations, even though they're not bad. He'll just say like, oh, like make a joke about something. So I get a lot like that from my dad.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I just
me
have that
too.
very-
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
I just have the like loud outgoing. Like I joke all the time. Like I have
You're
my,
hi, how are you? That's your joke.
I have my like my
Nice weather we're having today.
I have my dad's like very just bubbly, outgoing, like
That's a good thing.
very like friendly personality, but then I also have my mom's like I'm not gonna put up with stupid shit or like if you mess with me the wrong way, I'm not putting like I have a nice balance of both, but every once in a while I feel like they're both gonna get me in trouble at the same time.
Yeah.
That's fair.
If somehow manage to balance it out.
Like I said, it's a good trait to have, though.
Especially when I'm doing communications and marketing.
Oh, true.
Like it is definitely a good trait.
And you're psych and I'm sociology, so all of us got to be good about talking to people. But you guys were kind of just like got that raw talent, so you're just kind of like born with that. I kind of had to like grow into it a little bit, but I feel like you guys.
I just don't shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Wait. Well, why did I answer that so fast? I'm sorry.
I mean, you're not wrong. I was the one who said
I meant to say yeah as a joke, but I answered that so quick. I'm sorry. I didn't
Are
mean.
you though?
No.
Are
Yeah, he isn't. Well, I feel like once I become,
All right. Thanks everybody for. No, I'm just kidding. What were you saying?
I feel like because I'm a psych major, I'm probably because I want to go into like some sort of like therapy, depending on like what it is. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I feel like if I was a therapist, someone would be telling me their feelings and like how they feel. I'm like, man, that sucks. that's literally what I would say.
Yikes.
I do that to my friends.
You're
where I'll be
unfixable.
like, I'll do that to my friends. I'll be like, damn, I'm sorry, bro. And I'm like, you want to go Target? Target is my therapy.
Well, that's with. It was last night, right, when we were over at Allie's place.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was kind of trying a new form, because I even told her about that, where I was just actively listening as opposed to just trying to give her a bunch of solutions to what
Yeah.
she was talking about. Because when she was talking about redacted, I was trying very hard to just
listen.
show her I'm just listening to you. And if you want me to say something about it, I will. But I'm not just going to be like, well, here's how you fix it. Because it's just how it is. I've heard this from women. I'm sorry, don't start quivering now, Thomas. I brought up the females. But I've heard this, and you might be able to attest to it, Kayla, is that sometimes, because I saw this on TikTok actually, they don't want somebody to just solve their problems. They just want somebody to be there and listen. Like, wow. Yeah.
Oh,
No, yeah,
that is 100% of
Which that's my problem, is I'm like, well, if you do this, like, you'll be better. And they're like, well, that's not the point. I just wanted like.
Well, see, I'm usually the opposite. Where like I usually tend to listen. And I'm just like, dang, that sucks for the most part. Like I don't really say anything. But you chose the wrong person to try that with. Is a thing.
Allie?
Yeah.
She wants solutions.
Most of the time she does.
Well, she
That's the
did.
thing.
She did tell me that, but I gave solutions.
Yeah.
But also she's more your friend than she is
Yeah.
mine, and I wasn't even really supposed to be there anyway.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like, okay, I'm just out of respect for
No,
you.
yeah, that makes
I'm
sense.
just kind of like sit here and listen. to
No,
you.
that makes sense.
That's like a good example of that is like that's why me and my mom butt heads so bad is like I'll call her to vent. She's like, well, if you did this different, like I'm like, no, like that's not the point. Like let me just be pissed off for 5 minutes and vent to you. I don't want you to solve my problems.
Yeah.
Like just let me be pissed off. Let me vent, get it out of my system, and then I'm good.
Yeah.
See, like it's I usually tend to just have like I just listen for the most part and just let it be and don't give them solutions. But there's sometimes where I've been told problems and I'm like there's like an easy fix to it.
Yeah.
And it's hard not to say that sometimes because like they're complaining about something sometimes that might be even self-inflicted and I'm just like okay. And then they're like, when they ask me how to fix it, I'm like, all right, so this, like, it's so hard not to like say things sometimes because you feel like you get like I said, one wrong step and you're done with women, especially.
You're gonna get beat up at one of these days.
Oh, I definitely.
Were you saying about women the other day, dog?
No, like it's true though, because like I feel like I have to.
Oh, he's doubling down.
That's not what I meant.
He's
That's
doubling
not-
down.
No. That's not what I meant.
He
by-
said you are right.
No. That's not what I meant. By like it's
They
true.
are feisty creatures. I'm trying
No,
to tell
that's
you.
not what I meant. I feel I'm scared of women.
Yep. All right. That's a great place to end it. We almost started it that way. It was a great place. One thing I have to say before we do leave, though, because you sent this to me the other day, and I don't want it to go unnoticed, because normally the TikToks and shit that you send me are like
I'll either send you really stupid ones,
either
or
work related or it's very specific work related stuff that I understand, or it's just something
Random.
about how like life is just falling apart or something like that.
Hey, I haven't sent you any of those.
But you sent me a really sweet one the other day that said,
Oh, was it the
was
metal one?
I think you dropped something, and it was a medal that said, "Thank you for being one of the best people I've ever met." And that made me feel really nice. And Thomas didn't get that, so suck it, Thomas. Do you have him on TikTok?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I never. We don't send each other anything anymore.
That's because I don't. Well, okay. I also just don't send stuff to many people anymore.
That's true. You don't really use.
I have-
TikTok
I use
to, like,
TikTok a lot.
you don't
I just don't send
to
stuff.
people,
Yeah.
I've
I
got like
usually-
my select people I send it to. So
No,
it's
I
like,
just don't send stuff to many people. I send stuff to you sometimes, and even then, it's like
It's very rare.
Yeah, because like the
Because you'll mostly just show me.
yeah, I usually just show you. But like that sloth TikTok, I saw that before you sent it to me, but I wasn't. Gonna,
I sent you
You
that
sent it to me?
one. that was so good, bro. Somebody in the comments said, "What if you went in the wrong direction and made it 9 weeks for him to travel?" Now that was so funny to me.
No, but you sent that to me, and I laughed. But like I already saw it, but like I laughed again because I just
Yeah.
enjoyed that
Me
video.
and my friends overlap our stuff so much. Like I think Zuri sent me one. I was like, oh, my B. I didn't see what you already sent me before I sent things.
No, I
Yeah.
shit you not. Me and Cole's TikTok page are like very similar because like the things that come up on his page or my page has already came up like at least once
Yeah.
for each other. So like there's a video that he would be watching like, oh, I saw that like early today or something like that.
I think it was just the fact that it was upside down by Jack Johnson too. That was funny. That
Upside down.
just made the video like 10 times better. Yeah, I just want to point that out. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll send the video to you too. So it makes.
I'll send it
Yeah,
to
go
you.
ahead and send it
I'll
to
send
Thomas too. So it doesn't feel.
No, I don't want it anymore. It's just a pity video.
I'll send you the sloth.
I
video
didn't know
again.
he was gonna bring it up.
I'll send you the.
Why are you keeping secrets, huh?
I also haven't texted you other than so you liked my design in a while. I'm gonna tell you about my cooking.
Yeah, that's also just because I'm
I'll
really
send
bad
you-
at responding. I'm not gonna lie.
I'll send you this to make up for it. So you're good. Nobody's gonna see what that was, but
I'm glad we don't have a camera now. actually.
correct. Even then, I just.
No, but I'm gonna
Just do
admit
the blur.
I'm gonna admit sometimes I am very bad at texting because like I mean if you look at my phone I have like 900 something.
You also like
messages.
professional on D&D now too. I feel like
Me?
Yeah.
I'm just always on D&D because like it's not that I just don't want to be disturbed. It's
You're
just
also
like
doing a lot.
I'm always
Classes
doing
and cheer.
stuff all the time, especially like since I've been starting this challenge because the challenge I've made myself is I added a bunch of other stuff to the challenge and one of them was spend an hour minimum at the library. So today I was at the library for like an hour and a half doing homework, like not on my phone at all. And like I think that's when you texted me, and I responded pretty quick, but that was because I was like at the end of my like
Yeah.
study thing. So I was like, okay, I gotta do this, blah blah blah. And like after that, I put my phone away and just listening to music the whole time because D&D my favorite like best friend ever because I hate it's so weird to say, but I hate when my phone rings or like like notifications come up because like I just sometimes just don't want to be bothered. Not saying I get bothered by like a lot of people because I don't. I generally most of the time just ignore the D&D, but you know it's just nice to just be in bed and like be lost in like whatever you're doing, and then going on your phone later and like having a bunch of stuff going on, and I'm like, all right, check my phone, not gonna worry about it.
See, I'm like the opposite because like I'm bad at responding unless it's like my people. Like I have a bunch of
You
unread
respond to me pretty
messages.
quickly.
Yeah, but like you
many
two are
people?
like my people. Like,
Yeah.
The only reason I didn't respond to yours is I fell asleep when you texted me last night when you said about the names at the bottom or whatever. I didn't see that until this morning because I fell asleep. But like if it's like my like friends I talk to on a regular basis, yeah, I'm gonna respond to you. Like other times I'll look at messages and be like, yeah, I can respond to this later. Like especially if I'm like working or
Yeah.
actively doing stuff, I'm just like, I don't care enough to respond.
Yeah.
Sometimes I also just forget because I get so lost in my phone. Like I'm just going through music or just going on TikTok a lot. And I'm
Or
just
if
like,
I'm playing a game, you're not getting a text back from me in like an hour. Like I'm a child.
tell me about it. I'm a child too.
It's kind of like the Jaden principle, though. Kind of like what you and I talk about all the time, which is Jaden's one of those people that you could text, and then she'll text
Oh,
2
yeah.
months later, and she'll be like, it was just like a simple question. She's like, oh, yeah. And then you're like, you're like, that's just Jaden. I feel like you fall under kind of a similar umbrella.
Me?
Where it's just, you don't mean to not say something.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah.
completely forget about it.
a lot of people know that. Like
Yeah, that's what I mean.
that's why a lot of people call me now because they either need a quick answer. Like Allie, she knows that she hates that I'm on.
Yeah, she only calls you, I feel like.
Well, yeah, that's because she knows she hates that I'm always on D&D, and she hates clicking notify anyways all the time.
Yeah.
So she just always just calls me now because she.
Well, even then, you have to call twice for it to
No,
actually go
because she got pissed off by that too. So she put herself like on the favorites list so she can bypass that.
She did the bypass.
Yeah, so she
Damn.
like she took my phone and put herself on it, so she just calls me once because
know-
she hated that. Like, exponentially.
Valid.
I had a couple friends who would do that because like my phone stays on silent constantly. Like I never have like my actual ringer on, so they went through and did like the emergency bypass. So I remember there was one day, it was when I was still living in the dorm. I was like using like the like floor bathroom or whatever, and I had my phone sitting like on the toilet paper thing or whatever, and it went off and scared the absolute hell out of me because my phone's always on silent. Like so whenever it rings, I'm like, oh my god, what the hell's going on? Like, is there an emergency? Then I looked at my friend to call me. She's like, hey, what are you doing right now? I was like, well, I was in the bathroom, but not anymore. Scared me.
I will tell you one thing that's the downside of having D&D, and this is the last thing I'll say, is that whenever I have like important calls, for example, like doctors, clinics, or stuff like that, I forget my D&D's on sometimes, and I miss a call because they usually just send them to voicemail all the time. So then I gotta call them back, but then when I call them back, it's usually like an automated voicemail, and I'm like, all right, gotta wait for them to call me back again and turn off my D&D. Like I always
And you're
forget
playing,
that.
like, phone tag with them.
Yeah, and I feel bad because because it happened to me last week because I had to call a student health center because I was like sick and all that, and they called me, but like I didn't see the call because it was on D&D. But they don't call you twice because they don't know like you're on D&D. They usually just assume like, oh, they probably declined or something. So then I looked at it and I'm like, oh no, I gotta call them back again, and then they gotta call me again, and I gotta turn off D&D. So that's the only downside of D&D. Other than that, yeah, that's good for me.
Yep. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up here. I know we have a very bad habit of me saying that, and then like 20 minutes later we actually wrap stuff up. But that's okay.
Sounds like us whenever we're like, okay, we're gonna leave now, and then it's like 30 minutes later we're still talking to people.
You know what?
at
I'm
work.
kind of hungry. Let's go get some food or something like that.
I am hungry, but I can't eat. Remember?
Huh?
I can't eat cookout.
Why? Is it part of the thing?
Yeah,
Cookout? Not eating cookout is part of the thing? Really?
it's part of my diet.
Don't worry, Cole, I got you. We'll go to cookout.
Allie pluggy is. That's stupid.
No, she would.
I'm
hate
not.
me.
I'm probably. But,
I'm going to bed. I have an 8:30 tomorrow.
Yeah.
I gotta get up at 8:30.
You have an 8:30?
Yeah.
Good lord.
I gotta get up at 8:30.
That's why
tomorrow,
when you
too.
said 11, I almost cried a little inside, but I was like, I got this.
Refer to the man on your left about that.
Sorry.
I didn't get to take a nap either. I cooked and just relaxed.
You had like a 3-hour window. You definitely could have taken a nap.
Cole, if I took a nap, you weren't.
You're not waking
There was
up.
no.
I
It was not
gonna
a nap. It was just.
I was a little fearful because you texted me at like 10:55, and you were like, "I'm on my way." And I was gonna text you obviously, but I was like, she might be asleep right now.
I'm not gonna lie. I forget we were recording this because he texted me on like, was it Monday that you texted me? Like, is that okay?
Yeah, he comes back. He's like, "Wait, Kayla's coming," and I was like, "Bruh, I told
No,
you this
because I
2
came
days
back
ago."
and like it looked weird, and I was like, oh, you set it up for the podcast? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, what? And then he was like, yeah, Kayla's coming. I'm like, oh, that's today? I thought that was tomorrow. I got my days mixed up.
Hence
That's
why he was doing an assignment when you came over.
Well, I finished most of my assignment, but I thought I had time more, but then I completely forgot I said yes to this today. I thought it was tomorrow because I have more of a free day tomorrow than today.
See,
That's what I thought.
I technically could have also done tomorrow, but I worked till about 9:30, so then I would. Then it's like 8:30. Or
No, it would've been
3
the same
classes,
time.
then work, and then.
well, tomorrow night doesn't work for us. So
Yeah, we were going
it's
to
better
bed,
that it was.
yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, good thing you weren't asleep then, because you were able to come and
I
have
know.
this conversation.
I don't
Also, I'm gonna go stir crazy almost because this is the earliest episode that we've recorded, like, because we released one technically 2 days ago now, but like yesterday. So now I'm like. So we just gotta wait like a week for this one to come out because normally we record it like a day or two before.
Well, but
the
that's good
episode
for
comes
you
out.
because last time for the cam one we recorded on the Monday and we were releasing it the next day. So you basically just stayed up all night editing.
Nah, but I'm fine with that though.
Yeah, I know, but you got like a
But
week
now you
now
got
to do
time
it.
to, like-
Yeah. And now I can plan out who the next person's gonna be. So.
It could be the other Kayla.
Oh,
Thomas, why are you throwing
the
things
Kayla that I met. Would she want to be on this?
That's who I thought you were talking about, like on Saturday. You talked about.
We're gonna end it here before y'all start fighting each other.
Okay, he was like, we could have.
Oh,
Kayla
that's
on.
right. You were like, oh, really? You want her on that? And I was like, why wouldn't we? She's
No,
our
yeah,
friend.
because this is literally after we were hanging out with her, so I thought he was
Oh,
talking
gotcha.
about her. That's why I was confused. I was
That
like,
makes more sense.
because I knew they talked a little bit, but I didn't know they talked about I thought they talked. And
Oh,
I was
you
like,
want to be on the podcast?
I was so confused. I was like, because you would be that type of person. Like, you want to be on the podcast? Like, you. I feel like you would.
Maybe. I don't
Especially
know.
how, like-
in that environment, I'd say probably not. But-
Well, I think because how Kayla is, like, I know you don't know her super well, but like she would be.
I mean, she's very sweet. So
yeah, and like she has a lot of stories to tell too.
I mean,
which
yeah,
is-
I definitely have her on. If she
yeah.
wanted
So
to.
that's why I thought who you're talking about.
maybe we'll have back-to-back Kayla weeks.
Well, I
hit
also
her up
just
and
know
ask.
a lot of Kaylas. That's the thing. I know 2 Kaylas. I know a mug Kayla, and then I know like another Kayla's. I know like 4 Kaylas. So you have to forgive me.
I guess our names are just popular.
Yeah. So you have to forgive me if I confuse which one of y'all talking about. Because now you met 2 of the Kaylas I know, so I thought you were talking about the other one.
Listen, we'll just come to a compromise and that you were wrong. But we're actually going to end it. Thank you to those that have stuck out. I know that last week was 3 hours long, and we're close to 2 on this one. That's why I was kind of
Again?
like,
Really?
yeah. We're at 153 right now. So this is like our second, I think, longest episode now. So.
No, it's our third because Cam's the second.
Oh
one
yeah, that's
now.
right. Cam's was like just 2 hours, so this is our third longest. But I like that though. Like as they go on in the season, now that we've only had guests. Because I was thinking too, maybe after this episode, if we want to just go back to our roots and just have like you and I, if we just can't find anybody, I'd totally be fine with that. I don't know what we would talk about.
Well, I think it's just a lot of people like are listening to it now that actually like do want to do it.
Not just that, like I said, getting Cam on the podcast was by far the best business decision that we could have
we
made.
got a lot of
Not only was it
business.
cool to just actually finally meet her for the first time, but we got like 30 followers just because of Cam alone. So
And Craig too.
No, I was kidding. Yeah.
Can't
Well,
do
no,
it.
Craig promoted the hell out of his episodes. That's why I got it. Anyway,
I'll definitely share it once mine comes out.
there you go. Yeah, everybody at work just like, hey, I'm on this. Listen, or just start playing it over like the intercom.
Have my friends in the car for a lacrosse tournament and be like, "Hey, I want to listen to this podcast."
You mind if I turn
I'm
on
in.
some music? And it's just a podcast.
You
Was
just
it
hear-
the monsters? I'm just gonna be sitting here listening to my tunes and the podcast playing in the
Yeah.
background.
Wow.
Exactly.
You just hear at Dick's Sporting Goods, we live.
Yeah, thanks for everybody that stuck through it, and especially if you listened to last week's episode. Like I said, it was 3 hours long, but this one's a little bit an hour shorter. Thank you for coming though, Kayla. Had a blast, even
Thank
though
you for
we're all
having me. We're
exhausted.
Very excited. Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
But yeah, when it comes out, it'll be a really good listen. So, again, I've said that 7 times now, but thank you again, everybody, and we will see you next week.
See you later.
Peace.